Tonight on the podcast, we've got so much James Gunn news. It's going to make you sick harder than that after trick-or-treating candy hangover. And we're going to do a tier list of what we found to be the best C movies. Stay tuned. We got a good show for you coming up right now. Too many damn buttons. It is Friday night in Phoenix. You're locked into the Absolute Geek Podcast, the Friday before Halloween. I am Matt.
And I am JP. How we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad it's Halloween weekend.
Yeah, you got big plans for the spooky holiday?
Big plans, big party.
Nice.
Kids trick-or-treating, all kind of stuff. So, yeah. How about yourself?
I'm just going to take my my daughter trick-or-treating for her first time, and pretty much it.
Nice.
I'm not a big Halloween person. I don't get into Halloween like we maybe other holidays like Christmas or Thanksgiving but now with the kid, I guess Halloween's going to be a bigger holiday.
Yeah, it's bigger for a while, and then it then it gets a little old.
Then they're too cool for it, right?
And then too cool for it, then you like it as an adult. So back again, it's full circle.
But did you get any pickups this week? Do any thriving at the thrift stores?
Yeah, I did. I hit a comic show on Sunday. How we doing?
What's up, Sticks?
Hey guys.
Hey, Sticks. But yeah, I did Sunday was a comic show, and I got some stuff there. Traded a couple things. Got finally the Wolverine set from '82. Was happy to get that. So Wolverine 1 through 4. Dark, your favorite Black Adam book. So, so I got a couple things, and I have something I was going to talk to Ish about if he jumps on. Something that happened recently. I want to get his take on it. I got a pickup that didn't go as well as I thought. So, interesting story. So, a little bit of a Craigslist pickup. So,
missing connections.
Casual encounters.
Yeah. I figured it was an older lady, so I figured he might know something about older ladies.
Maybe.
But yeah,
it's the older women.
But yeah, besides that, I did get something in the mail. I got let me grab it here. These two pieces here, or these three actually. A little bit of Voltron, if you can see that.
Ooh, that's very nice.
Number 1, and then Predator number 1 here.
Nice.
Guy I met at a show said he had him at home. When he got back from the show, he would mail them out to me if I PayPal him the money. And I think we talked last week about sending out money to people you don't know, but I felt pretty good about it. And he delivered. He sent these 2 books plus an AVP book, Dark Horse Presents. So it was pretty cool. So I was happy with that. So that worked out well. So I was happy with that. How about you? Anything this week?
No, I didn't get any pickups this week. Just local, your Wednesday Warrior stuff, typical new release stuff. That's pretty much it. What about you, Sticks? You do any?
So tomorrow I'm going to my comic shop for the first time in 2 months. I'll be clearing out my box that I got holds on, and my local comic shop, the comic shop here in Oswego, New York. They're having their 30th anniversary sale. They've been open for 30 years. And I'll be picking up some more stuff aside from what's in my box.
So you're saying your wallet's going to start crying, huh?
My wallet, my wife.
Yeah. Where are you at? You said, where in New York?
I'm up in upstate New York by Syracuse. So it's a town called Oswego. Yeah.
I'm near Buffalo. That's where I'm at. I'm near Buffalo.
You're by Batavia, right?
I'm south of that. So if you went toward like south of Buffalo, so
towards Hamburg.
what's near? Yeah, it's right down
Towards
there.
Hamburg.
So
All right.
so your weather's a
Yeah,
little more snowy than mine, but still not much different.
no, not much different because you get it right from from Erie Lake. I get it right off of
Ontario.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
You
get the same stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. You're on the same time zone as me. This show goes late for us. Last time we got off, it was like what 3:00 in the morning, Matt.
Listen, I won't. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. We don't need to have conversations about cars
Amish
and
and
insurance, and we'll keep it as tight as possible.
Hey, as long
you got
as
to keep us on track.
As long as you're buying from Shaq and the General, you're all right.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about buying cars and paying taxes and all kinds of stuff like that.
Lance playing his guitar last week, and that was always
or Lance totally starting a conversation, then just playing his guitar like he didn't even do anything. That was like the epitome of I'm just going to sit back and watch the world burn right there, as he's just sitting there watching this conversation happen as he plays his guitar.
What is it? That's Caesar, right? Caesar fiddled as room burned.
Yeah, that's why he had to go pick the pumpkin patch this week as punishment for what he did last week. That's why he's not here tonight. He's out busy helping get to the pumpkin patch.
And that can be fun when they're young. That can be fun.
Yeah, my local shop is doing an anniversary sale tomorrow. I think it's 5-year anniversary, 3 or 5 year. They're doing a bunch of mystery boxes and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I want to go, but in support, but I'm not a fan of the mystery box, as a lot of people know, because it's not worth the hit.
I guess it depends on your shop, right? If your shop doesn't spec on stuff, you might get some good stuff in there. If they do and they know what they've got, then yeah, you're not going to get anything that great, right? I mean, probably stuff you already have.
He usually purposely throws in like good books, like he knows what he's got, and he throws in good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here for, I want to say it was I think it was Black Friday. I got a first print Killing Joke in a mystery.
Oh wow!
That are not neat. So that was cool, but I don't know. Like a lot of times I get them when there's a bunch of variants I don't care about, or it's like, oh man, I really wish I had that $30 back versus the books I just got, because
I guess
trying
at
to
that
part
point,
those out is gonna suck.
I guess if you're at least getting the value in the box, say it's a $25 box, you get your $25 back.
Yeah,
you can't complain too badly. But like I said, if you've already got it,
but it's kind of like that gut punch, because it's like these are a bunch of books I never wanted, I would never have bought otherwise. So you're like stuck with a bunch of crap you don't want, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me. I go to the antique stores, and if I find it's not what I'm looking for, but if there's margin, then I can turn it into something I'm looking for. But if it's not, then it's just junk I didn't want. Like you just said, it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you can't do anything with them, then screw it.
Yeah. And a lot of those places, and you know this, they're out of the way. They're in places that don't have internet, so you can't look things up. So you better know what you're looking at. You better know what you're looking at when you buy it.
Yeah, it's funny how you walk in that door and then internet goes out, and you're like, shit. Now I have no idea what the hell I'm buying.
They got one of those RPV devices that kills your internet.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what happened to me this weekend. I was looking at some books from a Craigslist ad, and I had no internet, but I knew what I was looking at. So, but anyway, the person got mad. That was gonna tell issue about, like, how talking about, like, you get these mystery boxes, Matt. Let's say you open up and let's say you found the Killing Joke book. Do you tell the guy, like, that book's worth $100, right?
Would I tell him? No.
So if you go into an antique store and you see a book, let's say I see Voltron #1 and it's for $2, am I supposed to tell the antique store person about it?
No.
So someone puts an ad on Craigslist and says $1 a book. You go out, I don't want to buy all 500, 600 books. You pick up one, and then you get an email back saying, "Hey, you told me that book was worth more than $1." Well, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's are you being I don't know. I guess I don't know how to play that one. So that was kind of my thing with Ish. And you guys, maybe we'll talk about that later, but that was kind of something I ran into this week, is just the way to find these books. And, you find a Hulk 181 in an antique store, you're going to tell somebody if it's priced at
Absolutely
$2?
not. Absolutely not.
No.
And
The thing with places like that, they mark their books to price. If it's on them to know what they got, because they're the store, right? Now,
Right.
say it's your buddy or someone you know from here, you're probably going to tell them, hey, listen, that book is worth a lot more than you think. I'll give you X more, just as a gentleman type of gesture for a friend, right?
Right. Are you going to pay, like, what we're not going to play retail. So if I go out to, let's say I drive an hour and a half, 2 hour, and like, I wouldn't go that far, but let's say you do 2 hours to see some books from Craigslist, and there's nothing but junk there, and it isn't worth $300-400 to buy the whole lot. So you say, I'll just buy these couple off you. And then they get mad, after the fact, and say, hey, that book was worth more than that. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to buy a whole lot of books of junk. So if I find something, I'm going to buy it for retail. And then what the problem is you're going to have somebody else who sees those ads and says, oh, I saw the books you had, it's worth more than that. That guy ripped you off. And that's what they do, because anybody can say, yeah, I would have paid you $100 for that book. That doesn't mean they would have done it when it's in front of them and they looked at it and said, oh yeah, I'm not going to give you much. It got this and that. It's not worth as much as that, but they'll say it easy, on over the phone to somebody else and make you look bad.
And I've had people where they've had stuff on like Facebook Marketplace. Hey, I'm selling this book, and you message them, you strike up a deal with them, and you're going to go, and you get there, and the guy goes, well, somebody messaged me and said, they give me X amount. Will you give me X amount? I'm like, no, I mean, we've already struck the deal for this price.
Right.
That's what you're going to get from me. If you don't want it, I walk.
Right.
And I get it. Someone's going to offer you more money, but they better come through with that money, because I'm here now.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen. So that's
But like, if you already bought the book, there's no, hey, you ripped me off, I want my money back, or I want that book back, or whatever. Like, you bought the book, it's yours. They agreed on that price. It's done, though.
Yeah, there was no gun in front of anybody. Like, I didn't have to drive out there and waste my time, and they didn't have to sell me the book. But
once you've left, or once it's shipped, that's done. Don't have buyer or seller's remorse and say, hey, I need more money for that book. It's already gone from you, and I've already left with and paid you.
Yeah.
Or gotten paid. Hey, that's done. Yeah. Your deal's done. Sorry, buddy.
It's like, there's an owner of a comic shop out here by the name of Jesse James who has a good business practice on that. Like, if he's having a sale and you go in a store and you find a key book and it's marked down or in his dollar bin, and you're like, oh, this is going for X amount. He usually says, I can either sell you the book at what it's marked, or I can sell it to you for the price it's there. What do you choose? And of course you're gonna go, well, what it's marked. And he's like, all right, I'd rather make a customer and have you be a happy returning customer, because that's a lot more than the ultimate price of this book. So it's hard. And a lot of people I know, like, doing eBay sales or garage sales or anything like that, like, it's hard, and they think their stuff is worth top dollar, and everyone's shit is minty,
Oh yeah.
You always think your shit's minty. So like,
the worst thing is going to the worst thing is going to a garage sale and people have their stuff marked like it's a Comic-Con, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, oh, well, that's a $300 book when it's probably $150.
Right.
But
yeah,
because like, if I were to sell my books at a yard sale, I wouldn't let anybody cherry pick. I know what I have. Right. So if someone came in and was like, oh, I want to buy all these books, can I just take what I want? No, you're either buying in bulk, or that's it. I'm not going to let you sit here and cherry pick my stuff and then get all my good stuff, go around, sell it for, double what I have marked. You're taking all the fodder with you too. If you want to go through the hustle of selling that, that's cool. That's on you. but you're taking this fodder too. You're not gonna just cherry pick my stuff and leave me with all the stuff that's not gonna sell.
Right. And that's the thing too. If you're a flea market guy, you can buy bulk and you can put it up at your flea market and maybe charge $1, $2 a book, and eventually you'll get rid of it. It'll take forever, but you can do it that way.
Right.
I don't want to do it. I want to find keys that are at antique stores or flea markets. I don't want to go buy a collection unless it's worth it. If someone says I want $5,000 for this collection, and it's nothing but but a bunch of $50 books, and there isn't anywhere near five. I mean, maybe it's worth 5,000 if I'm lucky. So I'm not going to outlay the money. I'm not paying retail for that. But if I go and someone wants $1 a book, there got to be at least $1,000 worth of books there if I'm going to pay 500 just for my time to try to get rid of that kind of stuff. That's how I look at it. But again, the way this thing worked out this weekend was I couldn't get any more pictures of it to see what else was there, and so I drove out on a whim, and I was like, damn it, there's nothing here. But then I was pretty hopeful with some other things. But then I got a message later on that someone was pissed, and I was like, someone told you that book's worth more than it is. It's not worth that much. You got it reasonable price. I could have given you more. You could have said no. But it is what it is. You agreed to it. It's a reasonable price. You didn't get ripped off, but you're just mad. And that's just, sellers regret. And that's unfortunate because you don't want that situation, right? Now everyone wants to walk away happy. And
again, it comes down to knowing what you got.
You hit them with the old, this book is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And I'm willing to buy it for this amount of money. So that's how much the book's worth. If it's not, then I'm walking away, and.
Right. If I'm going to drive all the way out here and then here's the price I'm going to pay for these junk books. They weren't even in boards and bags. They were just shoved into boxes. I was like, not even in good shape, blah, 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 blah. All right, listen, I just drove all out here. How about we just I'll take these 5 books. I'll give you this amount of money and call it a day. Then you can sell the rest of them. And here's some ideas on what else you could sell in your house that, you need to liquidate. This will go faster than trying to sell these bunch of crappy ass comics. And so I felt I was helpful in that regard. And someone wasn't happy at the end of the day because somebody else saw the ad and said, hey, that's worth that much money. No, it's not. Look on eBay. eBay sold is much different than eBay, what someone's asking for. So
then you come back with, oh, well, it's going for this on eBay. Yeah, but it's going for this condition. Is your book is not this condition. Your book is not 9.8 near mint quality. Your book is like a 5. It's got a watermark here. It's got a bend here. It's got color break here. Your book ain't worth that much. It's not worth,
Condition is everything.
How can somebody on Craigslist or Facebook look at a picture and say, I would have given you that much for the book? You can say that without seeing it in person, but until you show up,
I can't believe that they missed out on the book.
Yeah. And it wasn't that great of a book, so in my opinion, but it just was unfortunate. G.I. Joe, Greatest American Heroes on with us now. Look at that. Nice.
What's up, guys?
I got my Batman. The great liquid spill of 2022.
I did. I just had a harrowing last 15, 20 minutes. I swear there's a conspiracy out there in my life to make sure I never make this show on time because I got home early today and I would have been on time. And then I fucking spilled my drink everywhere and I'm sitting right now in a wet chair. But there you go.
You sure it's not just old age? It's not old age. It actually was a drink that spilled.
Literally. Hey now.
Same thing happens to me. Don't worry about
it. Happens to the best of us.
Hey, Rohan.
Are just around the corner for me.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, Rohan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, do you want to reiterate your question to Ish JP and see what he has to say about it?
Yeah. I'll just say hi to Rohan real quick. This is the first time he and I have ever actually been live together, so we always communicate on Instagram back and forth. So, unfortunately, you got a Seahawks jury.
It's on Fridays. That's what they do in Seattle here.
Nice. But Rohan knows this. I told him a little about this. But Ish, question is just how do you I like going around to antique stores and flea markets, and you find a couple books, and usually you find something pretty inexpensive. And are you supposed to tell people if they got a Marvel superhero 20 for $2? Is that is it the job of the flea market person to know that kind of stuff? Do we tell them? And then when it comes down to buying books directly from people off of Craigslist or out in your neighborhood, are you know, where do we draw the line of we're not trying to rip somebody off, but we're, you know, if they don't know what they have or they don't care what they have, they just want to get rid of it. Where do you kind of draw the line? And then where do you got buyer's remorse after the fact or seller's remorse, actually, that somebody gets mad that the book's actually worth more than they thought it was based on eBay?
So you're saying someone's selling something and you know it's much more valuable than what they're selling it at.
Well, like if you went out to go buy a whole collection of comics, and it's a couple hundred books, right? And they want about $1 a book, and you're thinking, you look through this and go, "There's no way." I mean, you got to shop, so you got a different story. You can slay these out, and you can sell each book for $1 over the time of your, you got places to sell it. But somebody else like me, Rohan or Matt, we don't really, what are we gonna do with these books? We don't want these crappy books. We want keys, at least we do. So, you don't want to buy all of them, so you just want to buy the ones that are decent. So you give a reasonable price, but then somebody comes back after the fact, seller's remorse, and says, "Hey, somebody else called me up and said they would have given me more money for that particular book."
That's too bad for them. I mean, we're all adults here, Everybody, you do your research, you know what you're selling, you know what you're buying, and I don't know. That's flea market. You find some deals at a flea market, you take it.
I mean, let's say you go, you see it out on Facebook. I got 1,000 comics. I just found an empty locker, and the guy doesn't have time to go through it. And so you go out there and you want to look, and you find a Hulk 181, our dream book, right, Rowan? Dream book, Hulk 181. And then do you say, "Okay, I'm going to give you $10,000 for this collection"? They're just found a storage locker. They didn't find it. They somehow got it, right? They got the contents of it. They're selling it. They want $1,000, $1 a book, and you're like, you find that book, then hell, that's an easy sale, no problem. But you go to that same locker, but you go through it and you find nothing good, and you say, "Shit, I'm not paying." There's a couple good ones in there. They might be worth $500. I'll give you, and then they're like, they don't want to sell it all to you, which is fine. That's their right. But everybody has to be an adult when you're doing that, and you got to know what you're looking for. And if you find a big book, do you tell them?
It's a peer-to-peer transaction. So I mean, kind of everybody's responsible for their own end when you're doing.
Yeah,
business.
I agree. I agree. It's like you don't have to buy,
and it's whatever you agreed upon. If that's the agreed upon price, then that's what it is moving forward.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to buy anything that you don't want to pay for, and they don't have to sell you anything that they want to sell that they don't want to sell to you for. So if you did the research and they didn't, that's on them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's all kind of, and I like this. You go around at flea markets and just yell, "Oh my fucking God, I can't believe they have this." I mean, sometimes you start to shake when you see something pretty good, but I've never seen a Hulk 181 or, an ASM 129, but that's always the hope. But then I run into that moral compass of, you find it, you're supposed to say something, right? There's enough internet information out there for people to find it.
It's up to you. You could take a book like that, sell it, and kick them back some money,
That's a good point.
If that's something, if that's something that, that you feel strongly about, then there's nothing stopping you from sharing the profits with, whoever passed on an amazing deal to you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean,
you'd say "Hey, I bought this book I bought this book from you for $1. I made 1,000. You know what? Here's $100. Thank you."
It's a good idea.
For them, that's found money too. All they knew is they sold the book for $1, and that's what they agreed to.
Yeah.
I would think some of it would be like circumstantial though too. Like if you use the analogy of going to buying it from someone who just won like a storage locker auction, and they're like, "I got all these comics. I don't know what they're worth. Come look at them." You kind of go, at least I would look through it and be like, "Oh man, Hulk 181." I would keep it. I'd be like, what do you want for all these? And I'd be like, if I don't take him, you're gonna have to move them and part them out and find something to buy them. I'll take all these for X amount of money, or let them shoot you an offer, and then you'd be like, well, I don't know if that's worth that. You know, you kind of do like the Pawn Stars thing with them, right? Like oh, I don't know if it's worth that, but you just be like, you kind of, I would kind of play up to the, look, you're going to have to find labor to get them out. You're going to have to go through every book. You're going to have to part them out. You're going to have to try and sell them, try and ship them. You're going to have to get them graded because they're worth more than graded. You know, you start laying out all the effort they would have to put into it. And then you're like, I'll give you this amount. And you're more likely to get a very, very good deal for them than being like, well, this Hulk 181 is like a, $4,000 book. So,
right.
And
sometimes it's a poker game. You know, you got to have a poker face and not always show all your cards. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it happens every day at the drive when you sell your car or buy a car, man. I mean, it just it's the nature of the business.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I mean, I own a business as well, right? And it's you as the business owner price things that you think are reasonable that will sustain your business, or at least that you should be. Right? If they didn't do the 5 minutes of research to know that they could have made more off of it, that's on them, right? It's not like they've priced this hoping that someone's going to come in and offer them more and that's going to save their business. Like, they put prices on it that's going to keep them in business, and if that's what they've got, that's what they've got. I don't think you need to feel guilty about it. That's my personal opinion.
Right? They put their margin on it to sell it, and and they're happy with that. Yeah.
Like, I was in a store on last Saturday, and Ish knows this gentleman who owns this store. And he was bragging to me about just how great his store is. And he goes, oh, well, this guy came in yesterday and tried to sell me a collection I didn't even want. And I was digging through it and I couldn't find anything. And then I stumbled across this Star Trek book. I know Ish is going to ask me what book. I had no idea. All I know is that like Spock on the cover and it was really old.
Was he? Yeah, it was probably Star Trek #1.
Yeah. And he was like, and
was it at least like Gold Key or DC?
Had to been Gold Key.
Yeah, it was Gold Key. And he was like, ooh, that's like a $300 book. So he's like, all right, I'll give you $100 for your collection. And the guy was like, oh, well, come on, man. Can't you do at least 2? And he's like, yeah, I'll give you $200 for it. So he bought it. And then the guy calls him back an hour later and goes, so that collection you just bought, how do you like it? And he's like, it's whatever, I guess. And he's like, well, you just stole from me. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, that Star Trek book is like a $300 book, and you only give me $200 for my collection. Like, I want that book back. He's like, all right, I'll sell it back to you for $100 if you want it that bad. Come and get it. And the collection was all like duct taped and masking tape all over it and water damage. And I was like, I wouldn't even give him $100 for that. Like, the Star Trek was even in rough shape. I was like, I wouldn't even give him $100 for that. So
wait, they made the deal, and then the guy went home and called back and said,
yeah.
Hey, you should have paid me. You should have paid me more for my collection.
Yeah,
you should have known what you had in the first place.
Did that just happen to you, JP?
Yeah, I was just talking about that after the fact of what I went home with. I got a message back saying, I would have got more for that book, but that's
well, then you should ask more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that's the difference between somebody saying. It happens to me all the time when I go to flea markets. I look up a book if I have internet connection, because there's never internet at the flea market or at the antique store, and I'll see a book and I'll go, oh wow, this is worth $150 on Key Collector because that's the easiest one to use. Then I go home because I bought it for $5, and I'm like, oh, I made a nice little profit there. And I go to put on eBay, let's say, and eBay's selling it for $20. They're not the same, the pricing. So you get excited about it, but then really what eBay will sell it for is sometimes a lot less than what the actual going, Key Collector or you name it. So the person who said that book was worth more, that's not truthful, because I saw on eBay myself that book is not selling for more than $30 on eBay.
And that's the problem with like apps like that. They can tell you this book is worth this much, but it's only selling for this much.
All right. I look at, if I'm going to get rid of something in my collection, I'm going to sell it for Key Collector price. If I'm going to try to sell something I don't care about, I'm going to put it on eBay. Like, right. If you want to get something from my collection, something good that I like, you're going to have to pay me what Key Collectors, what that is, just to make it worth my while to sell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even go off Key Collector. Honestly, I'd go off of
GPA.
eBay. eBay is like the standard.
Right, but if I'm going to sell something like I don't care about, it's not a PC book, let's say one I'm trying to flip, I'll use eBay. But if it's like one of my books that you got to make it worth my while to get rid of it, is what I'm saying. That I just look at it two different ways. If it's a PC book, give me more for it to have me part from it. But if it's not a PC book, I'm okay selling it for eBay prices, as long as I got margin.
Yeah. The thing in that is, though, I mean, whether it's your PC or not, I mean, what the going rate for that book is what the going rate for that book is.
Right. Oh, yeah. I don't disagree with that. It's why, like, it might say.
You can say, like, people who listed prices and sold prices the difference is sometimes great, because people will list something, I want the $1,000 for that book, but it's only going for $600, or
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like, if somebody wants something I don't want to get rid of, like, let's say a Spider-Man 300, well, then maybe on eBay it's going for 500, but I'm only going to get rid of mine for X amount because I don't really want to get rid of it. So that's the difference. You have to make it worth your while.
If that's your only one and you don't want to get rid of it,
right?
Price it the way you want to sell it. I mean,
then you're totally falling into the this is my, I don't want to sell it, but if you want to offer me that amount of money, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Or if it's if I don't care about it, I'll eBay it.
Make me the offer fine. I can't refuse.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it is. Send me an FF52.
Yeah. What's the offer that's going to take it from your hands to mine?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. But it's an interesting.
It's also tough because everyone's selling almost the same stuff, and especially on eBay and things like that. There's like at any time there's like hundreds of ASM 300s on eBay, whether it's graded, raw, whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of out there you can find if you want to find it. It just comes down to, we all collect what we want.
What I'm trying to say is you're fighting other people to sell that book.
Yeah, and that's why the prices keep going down on eBay.
Right. As more get listed, the price is gonna, tick down.
And that's what people that don't know enough about it, they look at what the sale is, not the sold price, and that's what gets them upset. And then people like us that want to keep books, we're going to price it at Key Collector or whatever GPA just because we have an affinity for the book. But other ones, we understand what to look through on eBay and say, okay, the sold price is this, so I know what to look for on it. So when I'm hunting for it, I'm not going to pay more than that for it, so I get some margin. But just like any guy who's buying a car or anybody who's in business, like Rowan said, just you got to know your margins, and that's part of the business.
I'll tell you, I mean, I'm also shocked how much often you'll find pricing difference between two different comic book stores. Like, for example, there's two shops that I go to fairly often. Both have been in business for 25 plus years. So it's not like these guys are new. They understand this comic book market. And I went to the one that I go to more often, and he had a X-Men 133, right? The first Wolverine solo cover, $15. I was like, heck yeah, pick that up. No problem. I went to the next store the next week. They had the same exact one. And this was back when prices before they crashed to where they are currently. And he had it for $200. And it's like, score for me. Like, but I didn't feel guilty. I mean, like I said, like, this guy knows what he's doing. Like, he sold her 15. That's the price he chose. So
yeah. Holy crap. What a difference that is.
And I've seen that like a lot. Like, I mean, another one, like I had a Fantastic 457, got it for $40 at one shop. Another shop had it for 150. Like it's crazy sometimes, like the difference you've seen just between comic book stores, let alone a flea market.
Yeah.
Well, why might that be?
A lot of it has to do with what they paid for the book.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
the guy
exactly.
who sold it for 15, for all you know, he could have bought a collection super cheap, and that was like a throw-in book or just a book he's had collecting dust forever. So he's like $15, no big deal for him. Just move the book. Whereas the other store, maybe that guy went out and bought a beautiful, nice copy, paid, I don't know, whatever, $80, $90 for it, and now has to charge, $150, $200 to make money.
Have to get his, yeah.
But it also goes back to customer service, right? Because if you sell that book at that cheap price, you're guaranteeing that person's going to come back and shop from you again.
Totally.
Versus the 200, you're like, I'm not going to shop there anymore,
But does that same guy who buys, sorry, real quick, the same guy who's going to sell it for 15, is he going to then give you for $100 book, offer you 15 for it or 10, right? Is he, you know what I mean? Like you kind of give and take there. And then the guy who's charging 200, is he going to give you, for a book that's worth 200, is he going to give you 100 for it, or is he going to offer you 15? So you kind of weigh it out. Like, I don't mind paying 15 for his lower price book, but when I go in there to sell it, I know I'm not going to go to his shop. I'm going to go to the other guy who's charging $200 because I can get 100 for that book. You know what I mean?
I mean, so I've been at the guy that I got it for $15. I've been there, I think, 3 times now, where he's bought a guy's collection. So like I see, or I have seen, I shouldn't say, I have seen like what he's paid for something. So it's like, I know if I'm wanting to sell it, I would, and nothing against him, like I just wouldn't go to him because I know what I'd get from him. Like that's just
right.
But again, like that's me. It's my book, right? I can sell it for whatever I want for.
Right, but you can get a good price there, but you're not going to sell your book there. But you're going to go to the issue store, and he's going to give you more for them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna sell something, I want to put it where I know I can get the most for it.
Right.
Yeah, and that's at least they're staying even. Like I got a guy locally who he will buy for eBay and then he sells it for key collector. I'm like, listen, you got to take that Eternals 1 down. It isn't worth $200 anymore. Take it down. You know what I mean? And then I understand what you're gonna give me for my book, but I'm not paying you for the Eternals 200 or number 1 $200 for that. So you can't have the bet. You have to be either one way or the other. So
yeah. And you have to be up on the market, right? It's not worth $20 anymore. So now you got to come down on your price. Hopefully you didn't pay $200 for that book.
Yeah, and if you did,
now you're taking a loss.
It's going to sit. Yeah, it's going to sit. You're not going to pay for it and just eat it until you can get rid of it because it may hopefully it'll come back.
I mean, I'm sure Ish in his store has like 10 or 20 boxes of Star Trek: The Next Generation books he can't get rid of.
No, Ish bought all those.
Well, some of
those are PC books. They're in the vault.
Yeah.
Those fly off the shelves. Are you kidding me?
When them Trekkies come in.
The flyer fall.
Yeah, I always have to convince people. I was like, buy the Star Trek books, Bill. Don't pass on them.
Yeah. This has got the first Q in it.
I have a question for Ish, since you own a comic shop. Do you have any like hard and fast rule that's like, I bought it for this, therefore I won't go under that price? Because I feel like oftentimes you see, a dealer will buy something, obviously, let's say a year ago when prices were much higher. And now where the market's at, they refuse to drop down to that price, and they would rather just hold versus just like kind of turning over inventory. Do you have any kind of rules you use for that situation?
It really depends on the book. If you have confidence that the book will eventually go back up, or it's just kind of, an evergreen book that's always going to be desirable. Or if it's something that you're like, it had its moment and it ain't going to be back in the spotlight, you have to drop your price. But then it comes down to, what you paid for it, what you're willing to let go.
How much you're willing to lose on it or make on it, right? A couple bucks or lose a couple bucks just to move the inventory and get on to the next one.
Yeah.
The Star Trek books
will
eventually come back.
Yeah.
Do you want to invest? Do you want to spend $400 or $500 only to make $100? That's sometimes a tough pill to swallow. We buy a book for $500 and we know it's going to sell it around $600. So I just put down $500 and ultimately I'm just going to make $100 off it. That's not the greatest margin.
Probably. Yeah. No one wants to lose money though, So
no, and I'm used to it. I mean, but most of the time you walk in a dealer and you're going to get 50 cents on the dollar, and I'm okay with that. Right. I grew up with that, but if I'm buying somewhere else, it's going to be, you want to get more for them than that. But if you need money and you want to sell your book, or you want to turn that book you bought for nothing into something else, and you go to dealer, they're going to give you 50 cents on the dollar, and you got to be comfortable with that, because those guys have to make money too, because they got bills to pay for the shop. Now we all have bills to pay, so it doesn't mean that they should get that, but they have a shop, right? And there's some way to look at it.
I think also part of the trade-off with that is that you go to that dealer, saying you sell it to him, you're going to get money right away, right? Whether or not be 50 cents on the dollar, it's still money right then, right? Whereas if you want to get your full value, it's going to take you a lot more time, a lot more effort, a lot more work to sell it there. Sure. So that does have value there.
You're right. Good point.
Yeah.
So that's why you're okay with going there. Yeah.
And there's also a difference between a one-off. You just walk in, they've never met you, they don't know who you are, you got books to sell, versus that's your LCS that you always go to for comics, or you've sold before and you build a relationship, that's when things can get real nice for both parties.
True.
Where
I wish I had that.
money.
I will say that the one nice thing about my shop is that they have a guy, and I think they would do it for if you had the right amount of stuff. They will put your stuff, if you say you're selling your stuff, they'll tell you, mark your stuff, put it in a box, and I'll put it up on the counter, and if it sells, we'll
consignment.
Make a a little profit off of it, and you'll sell your book.
I'm okay with it. I mean, if you can't get rid of it on eBay and they got people coming every day looking for stuff, maybe get rid of it quicker that way.
Yeah. And some people don't want to deal with eBay. They don't want to deal with PayPal. They don't want to deal with, having to pay seller fees because
it's 13%.
You've got to mark it up. Even then, you got to mark it up because you're going to try and beat out the fees, right?
Well, that's the hard part about eBay is you look on that book that caused me problems this week. I saw it selling for as little as $20, as much as $75. That's a pretty big. I mean, I know grade has to do with it, but it's let's just say they're all the same, similar grade. That's a pretty big difference. And with seller fees, if you sell a book for $20 and you're losing, let's say 20% on that book, right? $4,
25%, yeah.
And then you got to ship it. What are you making on it? So.
Right.
Yeah, and you bought it for $8 to begin with back in the day. You know what I mean?
Right. So now you're like, okay, now I get
and now you're selling it for $20 with all these fees. And in the end, you made I made $2, and I went through this whole cycle of selling.
And that's Instagram, another one. The people putting on books for $3. I'm like, what are you making on these books for $3? You better sell a whole ton of them for $3 to make it worth your time to sell a book for $3. This one for $3. This one for $3. I mean, you got to ship out a bunch of books.
Right, but on Instagram, you're not paying fees.
You're not paying the fees, but you still got to ship it. So the person buying it is buying one book for $3 plus the shipping it at $8. So you're $11 for one book. And if that book's worth $3, you got 11 into it. Now, if you go to sell it, it better be worth more than that now to make it worth your while, unless it was just a PC book, right?
Well, that's why as a seller, you're hoping that they'll be willing to build up, right? So you say you can get $45 for $15 shipping, right? So you're hoping they're buying those 45 books at $3 a piece. Now you're making 150. Right?
And that's better. I see them with single books. I'm like, why do you just sell one book? Just put a bunch of them on there. Just have someone buy it, because that's got to be a pain in the ass too. If you're the guy selling it, you're putting this book's going here, this book's going to Oregon, this book's going to Florida, this book's going to California, all over the place. Like it's. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth $3 to make.
Legal size, flat rate envelope legal size is now $10.50.
Yeah, the price went up again.
Did it?
So at the minimum, if you're charging $10.50 for the shipping, you're not making a dime on it. And I think one of those you can probably send about 10 books bagged and boarded
for that.
So unless you're, like I sell a Macari. So a lot of times I put and I probably shouldn't do it, but I put the shipping fee in with the price. Right. So then I mark it as free shipping, which technically it is.
Right. Yeah.
But the books, I don't overprice the books. I'm pretty fair. I'm like 25% off eBay because I want to move my books.
Yeah, but you're adding the shipping onto it, and they probably get that going, get free shipping. So it's worth it.
I'm willing to take offers on stuff because, I want to move the book. And a lot of times people will say, "Oh, it's that you get the guy who does double listing, right? One with shipping price, one without the shipping price. It says free shipping, right? It's the same book, same seller, two kind of different prices, even though it's the same price.
Right. They're just someone thinks they're getting it for less, but then they forget it. They don't add the shipping.
Right.
Yep. It's interesting. It's its own little subculture.
Hey, and I'm not ripping you off, but a lot of times what I'm doing is this guy's got it for free shipping. I'll buy it from him. It's free shipping.
Yep. Oh yeah.
A lot of times the mentality is free shipping. And
that's why people say you charge it $19.99. It's not $20. I'm still paying less than 20 for it, right? Something like that.
Yeah. So the psychology is bizarre if you think about it.
Yeah.
The one penny makes the difference, That's the deal breaker.
I saw a meme the other day, and it was like $40 plus $10 shipping, and then it's like $50 free shipping. I'm on that. Like,
right. Right.
That's how. Yeah, exactly.
People gravitate to the word free.
Yeah. You're paying for one or the other, but you see it like, oh, I'm getting a deal.
Well, yeah, it's like anybody who goes.
People are weird. I'll tell you this. I can have a book sitting there raw, like a new release comic, cover price $3.99, sits on the rack for months unsold. So I'm like, all right, I'm back issuing it now. Throw it in a bag and board, mark it up $2, sells immediately. And I don't know why.
Really?
But people, just the fact that it was bagged and boarded with the price tag, now this is something I want. Sitting on the rack for months and months, just sitting there naked, cover price, no interest.
Nope.
That's the weirdest thing, and I've seen it happen so many times. As soon as I bag and board it, stick a price tag, put it in a long box, it sells within days.
You know what I mean? I live out here in Seattle.
Really quick, I want to tell him Ish why it's sold. Because now you put a $5 bag and board on it.
$5. Made a Mylar.
I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I live in Seattle, and so I have a ton of friends that like work at Amazon. So I kind of hear them talk about things, and people when they shop on Amazon, they're like, "Oh, I have Prime, so everything ships for free." And so it's like, "Oh, I'd much rather just go through Prime because I get free shipping." And it's like anyone that works there will tell you, like, it's not free shipping. The free shipping is built into the pricing that they set. So it's just the same thing that you guys are talking about, right? But it makes you feel much better.
Right. But then if you can say it's free shipping and it's free returns and all that kind of stuff, then it makes life easier. Yeah. So therefore there's some, you're buying on eBay. I don't mind doing it on eBay because, if somebody screws you over more times than not, you're going to get your money back. Right. Yeah. But if you buy on, just showing up at someone's house and like that collection you were talking about, somebody buys it and then calls back and says, "Oh, you ripped me off." That doesn't eBay. Someone else deals with it. You don't have to deal with it. I mean, you still do, but you don't have to be the middle. There's a middle person dealing with it, and
right.
Usually it's set in. It's taken care of.
That's like the psychology of commerce. So like, it's built into us from a young age like that. Like you look at something and you're like, "Oh, that TV is $500. Ooh, but that same TV here is $499 or $498. Which one are you gonna get?" Your brain is wired to think you're getting a deal when you're really not. It's.
Yep.
It's just crazy how that works, but
there's a couple things that go with that too. I mean, if you have a better experience at one shop, you might be willing to pay a little more, right? Like just like the comic shop. If you go there and they have one book for $20 and the other one has it for $15, but you're going to get probably a better deal on something else at the other shop, you're going to pay the $20. You're not going to go shop to shop.
We get that with local. We have a Barnes and Nobles up the street from us. And they sell Marvel trade paperbacks. Sometimes buy one, get two free, right? I always tell we should go and just buy all of their inventory. But people still come to our shop. They're aware they can go to Barnes and Nobles and get a better deal. Right. But they come to us. Why? Is it because
I guess that's
me? I don't know.
And that's if they have
kidding, but that's we strive to provide such like personalized service to people that
that's the difference.
Steve said they're willing to spend a couple dollars more, and have an experience.
And it's the experience.
Yeah, you
or
want
support local,
back.
And not corporate.
You as a shop want them to come back to spend more money.
I agree.
Let's just go to the shop where the old guy's going to try and talk us into buying Star Trek comics. That's where we want to go. Well, it's because they've heard the legend of Corbin and his great negotiating skills and the deals that are given away by Bill. If you're just like, there's a little bit of dirt on that. Yeah, there's a little bit of dirt on the cover of that book. And all right, discount. It's the legends of Bill. That's what gets you people in your doors.
It's like buying dented cans at the grocery store. Get that discount.
That's right.
Oh, it's got a dent.
Microsoft went down 15 points.
It's back up today. Thankfully.
Yeah, like I said, it's that scene in Big Daddy when they're shopping and the kids slamming cans on the ground, and it's like Microsoft went down 15 points. We got to save money everywhere we can. But all right, Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say what we got today. We got news to do, right?
Yes, sir. I was gonna say that's a good jumping off point. A great comic shop talk. Great insight.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of geek news. All right. First up tonight, we're talking about the big news of the week. DC finding its very new or its own version of Kevin Feige. Looks like James Gunn's time working with Marvel Studios has come to a close. Tuesday, Warner Brothers announced Gunn and longtime collaborator Peter Safran as the new co-chairs of the newly created DC Studios, the studio's new outfit overseeing all things film, television, and animation. The move is arguably the latest of Gunn, or the largest of Gunn's career, as he'll oversee virtually every DC-related project, live action or otherwise. It's also a move that particularly guarantees his time with Marvel has come to an end. What do we think of this? Is this a good move? Is this kind of a head-scratcher move? Is this a move that excites you?
I like it. I definitely like the move.
I don't think it's a head-scratcher move at all. I don't know if it excites me. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's a head-scratcher move in a lot of ways, because this dude has hit home runs with Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad. All right. Suicide Squad, maybe not as much as Guardians, but he took some lesser-known characters and made them fun. But his second outing with him, look at the Guardians too. His second outing with him wasn't as enjoyable. So it's kind of like he catches you off guard and has that majesty of like bringing these characters you don't know about to life and putting them on your radar. But it's kind of like, what, I guess, in what realm does this make him qualified to lead this kind of thing?
So you're saying it's a head scratcher for DC then, not for him?
Yeah. I mean, him, he's like, oh man, I can make all this money and, have all this say, and it's a no-brainer when it comes to him.
Well, now he might get a good-looking girl. Well, actually, no, he has one now.
He already has a good-looking girl. I think DC is on that, though.
I think DC is just in a position where it's just like their credibility has just gone down the crapper, and it's like they're gonna try. In my opinion, like they're looking to just make a move that's gonna make good, positive headlines for that. And if James Gunn's a hot name and he's willing to come on board, I think they got no choice almost but to go swing for the fences on it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just like a company who's trying to come out of the, name one with, Apple had their time in the 90s where they got rid of Steve Jobs. They brought a couple of the guys back in, and then they brought Jobs back in the end, and that saved the company. You might see DC doing a couple different moves like this that make sense on paper, but don't amount to anything or sound good. I think this is a good move in my opinion, but we'll see. I get what you're saying about he doesn't ever hit the home run on the second. He hasn't yet hit the home run on the second film, but I'd have to say Guardians, both of them were good and they were fun movies to watch and different. Suicide Squad was definitely pretty cool. In my opinion, it was a fun movie to watch, and then Peacemaker was even better, and that was a second go around with those similar characters, and I think he did a fabulous job on Peacemaker. That was just a cool show, and if he can do the same thing, taking these sub characters, because DC always does the same: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, bring in somebody else, bring in somebody new like Peacemaker, Vigilante, Lobo. Firestorm, I don't know, name them. Green Lantern, maybe redo that one and then run with it. Just like Marvel did in 2008. You have whatever was left, Marvel took what was left and made the franchise it is today. Maybe DC can do the same thing.
So you think that he deserves more of the credit for Peacemaker's success rather than like John Cena? Because I personally think if that role goes to anyone other than Cena, that show doesn't work.
They're two sides of the same coin, right?
I think that the fact that he cast him in the first movie in Suicide Squad put him in the right place. It's kind of like in baseball, you hit, you bunt to get the guy in, right? You made the guy who's fast enough to run from third, but you identified that the guy at bat identified that I can put this down and I can get to first before, and he can get in. Like, he identified that Cena can do this. And he saw the success and then took the movie out from there,
he made the decision. Yeah.
Did James Gunn do the first Suicide Squad, or did he just do the
second
one?
No.
He did just the second one.
He just did the second one.
Yeah.
The second.
Yeah. So Cena, I thought, did better in the show than he did on the movie, right?
I thought he was good in both of them.
I thought he kicked it up more in the
series
than he, So I think James Gunn, as far as this deal goes, I think it's a head scratcher for me on James Gunn's side, because I think Gunn is more comfortable behind the camera. So I'm wondering how much of that behind the camera stuff he's going to be able to do if he's doing this, and I don't think he's going to do a lot. So that's going to take a lot of that Gunn stuff out of.
Yeah, we're probably not going to see him. Yeah, we're probably not going to see screenplays or him directing movies.
I disagree. I think you will.
Overseeing a bunch of other movies. But it comes down to his decision making. Then is he going to make the right creative decisions?
Feige's different though, because he's always been a producer, and so to me, I think you're going to see James Gunn still direct, and to me, it what's the buzz that's going around after Black Adam, the return of Henry Cavill, Man of Steel 2. If you don't think he's going to direct Man of Steel 2 with all of this, I think you're crazy. Like, he's going to take on that movie and use that movie to relaunch whatever his new universe, his DC universe, instead of the extended, his DC universe. And he's going to redo that movie and direct it to get everyone out of the Snyderverse.
But is what JP was saying though, like, true? Like, would he want to do Man of Steel? Like, isn't his forte taking that kind of lesser known secondary character and making them mainstream? Like, is Man of Steel even his kind of cup of tea?
I think that he's given the keys to the kingdom. You're going to want to show off your first outing. You're going to want to show, what you want to do your first outing. So I think, of course, you're going to be like, I'm going to take your biggest character in Superman, and I'm going to do this movie, and this is where I'm going, and I'm going to show you where my direction.
Didn't James Gunn do Brightburn?
Did he do Brightburn? Let's see.
I think he produced it. Yeah.
So that was his take on.
I don't think he directed it.
That was his take on Superman. That's my concern, is that he may take.
He was a producer on Brightburn.
Okay. I don't know what that means if he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's now the CEO of DC Films, so he's going to be the one delegating who's going to be writing and directing all the movies. So I don't really see him doing the Man of Steel 2.
I don't think he'll do either. But what Matt's saying is that this is the flagship that they have to get right. So do you want to put him in charge of it, or do they grab?
See, I think it's almost on a point of micromanagement. If he's doing Man of Steel, I think the bigger job for him is to build that roadmap for the next several years, right? What Kevin Feige does, not work on just one. I think if he works on one film, that takes away from the greater good he's supposed to be doing, in my opinion.
Because he said
as the CEO, he has to focus on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said that just because he took this position, he fully intends to still direct.
But if he's the one laying out the foundation for where they're going to go, then the fact that they did Suicide Squad and he did a spinoff into Peacemaker, a couple seasons, then if he does Man of Steel, let's just say, then is there going to be spinoffs to something else that'll show up from there that they never really explored during the Snyderverse? So if he can lay the foundation, take this flagship and lay the foundation for where they go. Iron Man laid the foundation for where MCU went. So
are they also starting a new foundation, or are they saying we have the foundation, he's going to build off of that? Because, like,
I don't know.
I think their foundation now is crap. And to me,
but they
it makes
keep
more
adding the
sense
same people to the shows to say, like, you can't cut it and start over. Like they keep Henry Cavill's and Adam and Black Adam, and so you got these ties, and then with Affleck in Flash and Michael Keaton, maybe I don't know. It's confusing. They didn't just do a clean slate.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what, in my personal opinion, like, it doesn't really excite me that much because I just think like they've already spun so much crap that like if they're just going to keep piling on, like I don't really care who's at the helm. It's already so bad in my opinion.
All right, so just so disheveled, you don't know what direction it's going, and kind of like Phase 4 Marvel, but Phase 1 through 3 was pretty darn good. So you need some type of direction.
Yeah. Oh, if it's a new character, origins all the way, right? But we don't need origins of Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman.
No more.
We've seen those. How many Batman origin movies have we had over the umpteen years that they've been making Batman movies, right? We already know that.
Does the new Batman with Matt Reeves, does that fall under James Gunn now, or is that its own separate universe?
That's separate.
That's a separate universe, and then so is the Joker, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then, are there going to be another Batman and then another Joker in James Gunn's universe?
Most likely.
And that's.
And I feel like that's not a key to success, having multiple Batmans under.
Why wouldn't Reeves?
I agree.
Batman fall with Gunn? It's DC, right? I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
I mean, he would have to produce it, or oversee it.
Yeah, but it's just a completely. It's like let's put it this way: it's going to be almost like Fox and Disney in the same universe,
Stuff.
But before Disney bought Fox, it was all separated. So what's going to happen now is Reeves Batman will be separated. The Penguin project will be separated. All the villain project he's going to work on will be separated, which I think is a dumb idea. But that's why they get paid the big bucks.
I would
be surprised. I'll be surprised of what happens here because I don't think he's going to have time to go in and direct a film or maybe a TV series. Maybe a TV series doesn't take as long as a movie, right? So maybe he'll do that, and then. But for DC, it's a good move because he's
got a different take on stuff.
Yeah, he's got a different take on stuff. His stuff has hit home, so he knows what to do and who to hire, and and what characters or what people he wants in those positions. So DC didn't make a bad move, and but time will tell.
Well, the thing of it is DC has every one of their characters available to them. Marvel only had what they didn't sell, and they made that work. It's kind of like, well, all we have is all we have is enough to make a fire with this, and we made it burn really hot, and DC has everything under the roof to use, and they keep using the same stuff, and it doesn't work. So take a different approach.
I think he's got to come in hot. I think he's got to come in hot directing a big name movie because look at Feige, man. Like when did Feige really become a household name amongst fans of these movies? I wouldn't say Avengers. It was Iron Man 1. Exactly. I would say it's probably about Avengers is when he became a household name. So now James Gunn is stepping into this Kevin Feige role where going forward, everything he does, he's going to be compared to Feige. Like that's the double-edged sword with this position is everywhere you go, not only going to be compared to what Marvel's doing, but you're going to be your decisions are going to be compared to Feige. So you would think that he would want to come in, do that first movie, make that splash and say, all right, guys, I know you've been swallowing a lot of crap for the last couple of years, but I got you. This is where we're going, and kind of give you an idea of what they're going to do and how they're going to get there, and a little bit of a roadmap. But
I do think, I also will say, I think you're exactly right. Like everyone else in the media and people, they're all going to compare him to Kevin Feige. In my opinion, it's in James Gunn's best interest to just ignore that noise and do his thing, right? Because I think that's why DC is so far behind in general. It's like Marvel took their time. They took 15 years, whatever it was, to build the first Avengers movie, and it was huge. And DC's like, oh crap, we could do this with Justice League, and they just like pushed it all out there as fast as they could to try and catch up, and I think that's why their foundation was so shit. Like Kevin or James Gunn is going to get that noise, but I think in his best interest to ignore that and just do his thing, take his time, and build. He's going to get compared to Kevin Feige. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just take your time and build it the right way, because it'll take. I mean, Marvel built a foundation that lasts from 2008. We're now in, going in 2023 here with phase. Next phase is going to 2025. So that's pretty nice foundation to lay, and Gunn can do the same thing. We'll see if this can last a long time for this market. But if they keep putting out good content, I don't see why it wouldn't.
See, I wonder. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wonder if, like, in him agreeing to come to DC, if he worked out some kind of, like, part of his deal was like, look, if you're gonna bring me on, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it my way. Versus, I'm not just gonna rush to get you guys caught up. Like, we do this my way, or I'm just not gonna do this.
What about the other guy though? The co-CEO. What's this guy's lineage? I don't even know what his name is.
They've worked together and been kind of co-creators on a lot of things. I think he works on almost every. Yeah, him and Gunn have been co-creators on almost everything he's done. Okay. But like, here's the other thing you're looking up again. So, biggest pandemic era box office opening for comic book movies. You have Spider-Man: No Way Home at $260 million, Doctor Strange 2 at $187.4 million, Thor: Love and Thunder at $144.2 million, The Batman at $134 million, Venom 2 at $90 million, Black Widow at $80.4, Shang-Chi at 7.5 or 75.4, Eternals at 71.3, and Black Adam at 67 million. So that's what you're like. A lot of our box office numbers are pre and post pandemic now. So like, if you're James Gunn looking at that, you're like, we've got a lot of work to do, because other than the Batman, which was a one-off movie, like, we're not even in big boy leagues. Like, we're not even out producing a Sony
Eternals.
Marvel movie. Yeah.
You mean Suicide Squad?
Yeah, and before that is Wonder Woman 84. Suicide Squad, which bombed too, and then Birds of Prey, which was a total bomb. So they've had like a string of absolute bombs.
Well, my feeling on Suicide Squad 2 is they really get into the stick with their straight to streaming crap and not giving it a chance in theaters.
Yeah, I thought it. I watched. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Was
that gets an asterisk, but it's still bombed nonetheless in theaters.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, everyone's watching it on their own living room. So
it's hard to count that, but I forgot.
And I still think there's something to say for it when someone's like, "That's a good DC movie." It
was a good movie. It was a good movie. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, it was better than the first attempt. I'll give.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I like Will Smith. I mean, he did all right with that. But the second one I liked that movie. I overall, it was a good movie. Yeah. Peacemaker followed up great. So I thought they did 2 in a row like that. But again, the numbers don't show on the box office, and that's what they need. So take one character, Green Lantern. I don't know, somebody who's quit with Batman, Superman, Green Lantern. I don't know, Lobo. Name somebody that is hot now for them that they can make a movie about, that can project them. Iron Man, no one in the 90s, Iron Man wasn't anything special. He wasn't collected. That's all they had left. In 2005, that's all they had left. After they sold everything else, Marvel only had was Thor, who I couldn't stand, Iron Man, and the Avengers. No one liked the Avengers. We were X-Men, Spider-Man, X-Force, and they made it work. It's possible.
Yeah, I think that first casting is huge. Like, huge.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. He epitomized being Iron Man. I mean, he was great. Thor was great. I mean, find the right guy. Find the Ryan Reynolds to be Green Lantern, and you're golden.
Right? Yeah. And they got Downey on the cheap because he was
fresh out of rehab.
Yep. So
I'm not a huge DC guy outside of like Batman, Superman, so I don't know the characters as well. But like, what about like Nightwing? Would that work for like someone to like reboot the franchise off of.
That's possible. That's a good name. I don't know much about DC. I named a few that I know. I mean, besides your typical, but yeah, like a Nightwing. Who knew what who Peacemaker was, and that was a great show. So you find someone obscure, find the right casting, and maybe it works.
Yeah. Someone like Booster Gold.
Booster, Booster Gold. Please, Booster Gold. Yeah, I'd go see that. I mean, what movies do we have?
We're talking about
that they're still doing.
Blue Beetle
coming out. I think that's the only thing still in production, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Everything else they canceled or shelved.
Are they still doing the Green Lantern?
Wonder Woman 3 is still.
Nope, they have
got
scrapped Green Lantern and they are now rewriting it to focus on Jonathan Stewart versus Guy Gardner.
Oh, good. That's cool.
And I thought Green Lantern was already done. Green Lantern was already done because they had that promo video that they did not too long ago. Well, probably a year ago now.
But is that Jon Stewart thing good for Green Lantern versus Guy Gardner?
I mean, I think so. He's usually the most popular Green Lantern.
Stewart is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everyone knows him from like the Justice League of America TV shows, and yeah, he's the more well-known Green Lantern.
Yeah. I mean, but in the comics, it was always Hal Jordan and Guy
Hal
Gardner
Jordan too.
But the Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner, they're the ones that they kept teeing off on each other because they didn't like each other.
Animated was Hal Jordan.
What ish?
He froze.
The animated series was Hal Jordan.
Yeah, it had Hal Jordan in there.
Yeah,
but Jon Stewart was the original Justice League cartoon there. Not the original,
well, I thought
the 90s.
Stewart was supposed to be in the Justice League movie. Instead of Martian Manhunter, it was going to be Jon Stewart. I thought I thought there was supposed to be a cameo, but they took it out.
I mean, there's a cameo in the Snyder cut of Green Lantern, but you don't really see which Green Lantern it is.
Okay, I thought it was supposed to be Stewart, but either case, they could have taken that again. Another option for them there, but I think there's plenty of good characters that they could grab. Again, if you take James Gunn and you have him do in my opinion, one of my favorites is Lobo. I think he could do a great Lobo and just make it off the charts, grotesque and like over the top action and it'll work for James Gunn just because how Suicide Squad work. And I think that might be obscure character, but you can always introduce other characters cosmically into that mix because of Lobo's background and take it from there. I think that'd be a good one to look at.
I think the only problem with Lobo is that's another one that you have to get your casting right. Like your casting has to.
That was gonna be my question. If you had any thoughts on who would be a good casting for that?
Well, I think he'd be more CGI. That's the only thing I'm wondering is would he be more CGI than not because he's almost like a Thanos.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought Josh Brolin still did great as the face of Thanos. Still.
Yeah.
Right. I just didn't know if you
have to have that good actor.
I don't think it would be. You don't think it would be more like makeup and practical versus CGI?
I would think so too, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, because Lobo, it's really just the white face. So the white face paint. So it would be more of a practical than having to do.
But he's supposed to be bigger and. Isn't he supposed to be bigger and like bulkier and whatnot, like just alien in a sense? So, I'm sure they could do it. So, but it's right casting. You got to get someone like Ryan Reynolds who can play the role, who can be, who can deliver the lines like Reynolds does. Because I think Lobo is similar to a Deadpool type.
I think Reynolds is he's more invested in that role, right? He pushed for the role. He pushed for the movie. Yeah. He's got an investment in that. So if you can find someone who's as invested as Ryan is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't even think when it comes to that, there's not even a question. Like, if you're bringing Deadpool in the MCU, I don't think anybody would have accepted anything less than Ryan Reynolds. Like, if they're like, we're bringing Deadpool in and we're recasting, I think they would have just been met with a shitstorm of negativity.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But
well, that's
right.
why people say Wolverine you see is
huge jack man.
Huge
jack man.
Huge jacked man, yeah.
But all right,
that's why he's coming back.
Talk a little bit Doctor Who, and that's why I asked Sticks to come on so he could talk Doctor Who, kind of explain what's going on with Doctor Who. As the beloved sci-fi series Doctor Who has found a new streaming home. Announced by Disney Plus on Twitter, the Doctor Who and its various companions will be available to stream on the platform in 2023. Subscribers will be able to watch new episodes, key right there, new episodes of Doctor Who, while it's currently unknown whether the back catalog of previous seasons will also be available. This announcement heralds what is being described as the first new collaboration between BBC and Disney brand television. And I've seen, and I think you're the perfect guy to address this, Sticks. I've seen a lot of concern and a lot of sources saying that although they don't outright own the property, Disney's branding and basically their dollar amount or bank account is going to play an effect as far as like maybe some of the direction of the show and choices that are made. And what do you think about that?
So the company that's going to be doing Doctor Who now, it's still under the BBC umbrella, but the company name is Bad Wolf, which is a Doctor Who reference, run by Russell T Davies, who was the showrunner at the beginning of the 2005 run. He brought back the show. Everyone has loved his stuff, so everyone's excited to have him back. But yeah, Disney, I think they've collaborated with Bad Wolf Productions to usher in some new stuff, hopefully. And I'm not against completely like British, but I'd like to see more where it's more of a global series, right? So more American settings rather than just being him in Britain, right?
Have we had an American doctor yet?
No, there's
just a nurse.
An American doctor. Just a nurse, yeah.
Do you think this leads to something like along those lines?
No, I really don't. No, unless it's completely owned by an American company, I don't think so. Because I think what makes Doctor Who is the British aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I'm excited to have it come to Disney Plus. If they're putting some bankroll into it, I think it'll push the series a little more, because there's also been talks about Disney doing like spin-off series for the streaming service. Not too long ago, Stars, in association with then new Bad Wolf Productions, did a Torchwood series for their streaming. Well, wasn't streaming really then, but for their movie channel, the Stars movie channel, and it wasn't that great, but it wasn't horrible. I can see that happening here too.
So you have high hopes for Disney taking on this property, and hopefully that with the Disney brand on it, it's going to increase its popularity and help it have a boom.
The money that Disney and I think Bad Wolf also has a deal with Showtime in some way to produce some stuff for Doctor Who or some other stuff, because they produce other shows besides Doctor Who. But I think that'll be good, because the show, the BBC, has been hit and miss over the years, because now they're, instead of getting like full series, you've only been getting specials. Oops. And it's really hurt the fans because they're not getting full seasons anymore.
Now this is only on the BBC though, right? Has been, correct? That's the only way you can catch it.
So the Doctor Who series is on BBC here in America and on BBC America. Canada's on the
Right. So that's
channel,
only like I have BBC America, so I've seen it on there, but it's not now that's on Disney. Then they're going to open up the whole realm to more people to be able to see it.
If you're looking to watch some of the old episodes, from the 2005 to current, it's been on HBO Max and AMC Plus.
Hmm.
Yeah, and those deals run out at some point, and I think that's when that back catalog will go on to Disney Plus, when those deals run out. Because right now, with the deal with Disney Plus is anything going forward. So, like this past Sunday was the last episode with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Everything after that is going to go to Disney Plus on a first run. So after it airs in the BBC, it airs BBC America, and then it'll go to Disney Plus.
So kind of like with like FX shows on Hulu, where it airs on Hulu, and then the next day it's on, or it airs, and then the next day it's on Hulu.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Down for it.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. If we can get full series of Doctor Who, beautiful, because that's really what specials are great. Like at least a 12 episode series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about a show that's been on for 60 years.
I think if Disney's getting involved in it and they're going to put it on Disney Plus, you're going to get more episodic content than just specials.
Oh yeah, and that's what I'm hoping for.
All right, good stuff. Coming up, Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige recently addressed the X-Men's future in the MCU cinematic universe, assuring fans that mutant superhero team's debut is close. Feige responded to a question about the X-Men's MCU arrival in an interview with Deadline. That's what Jennifer Walters just asked the robot in the final episode of She-Hulk, and I'll give you the same answer he gave, which is, I don't remember. No answer is what I think he gave, Feige said. But Deadpool and Wolverine are both upcoming MCU installments. Deadpool 3, we're getting close. So do you kind of take this as Feige saying that Deadpool might be part of the X-Men team? We've heard for a long time that the rumor is that they're going to introduce the X-Men individually before they're introduced to you as a team. Do you think we get do you think we're all thinking we're going to get our normal classic X-Men team, but instead we get a different iteration of that team?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get the Silver Age stuff. Go ahead.
I think you get the kind of the team from Giant Size on kind of thing.
Yeah, I would hope they would do that.
And I would think too they would bring it on the individual, right? Because isn't that kind of like the crux of mutants as they came out? Like it was the fact that they've always been here, they just weren't out in the open, and so it's like an easy way to kind of bring them into the greater universe that they've built. Versus if they have this team already established, and they're like, "Well, where were you guys when Thanos was here?" Like, well, we didn't want to pick part. Like, this is an easy way, I think, to them to like build it. Like, no, we've been around, we just weren't out.
It'd be a good point. I would hope they wouldn't retool the team. Start with Giant Size X-Men type, that group. You already got Colossus and Deadpool. If Wolverine's into the mix, you don't have to bring very many back in order to make that particular team somehow and come from underneath from their caves and interact somehow.
Well, I also think like it's obvious that they're prioritizing diversity in who they cast and whatnot. So it's like Storm is gonna be there. Like Storm has massive potential for what they want to do. So it's like there's no way they're not going to use her, for example, in my opinion.
Yep. Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. But like, I would before everything that's happened with Chadwick Boseman passing and the way they're going to go with Black Panther, I would have for sure seen Storm kind of being introduced through Black Panther. And kind of there's that whole thing going around about potential of Rogue being one of the big baddies in the Marvels. So
I think that'd be honestly awesome, though. I think everyone is dying to see Rogue take Captain Marvel's powers on screen.
Yes,
that'd be cool. Yep, because that would be an interesting way to introduce her, and you get a couple of the bigger names. You got Wolverine already in here. You bring in. It's too late. I heard some rumors about Wakanda Forever and what's supposed to happen in those post-credit scenes. So I don't think anything groundbreaking. It might be great for that show, but nothing groundbreaking that is we're looking forward to from what I've gathered going into the next phase. So
are you talking about someone who rhymes with gloom?
Yeah. Yeah. He's not supposed to be in it. So, even if Storm showed up in Wakanda Forever somehow to link that, and then you got Wolverine, and you got Rogue in the Marvels, you got 3 big X-Men brought into it just from those big movies, and then you can build it from there, right? Avengers didn't take place until some years after Iron Man and Thor, so bring the big names in, bring them. Black Panther would be a great movie to bring Storm in, Rogue in the Marvels, Wolverine and Deadpool, like that. I think that's great writing or great options there. Namor's into it. Maybe Namor is one of the X-Men because he's the original, mutant. So we'll see. There's some potential there.
Plus, you also have you have Gambit, which is like a character they've not done on screen. So it's like you can kind of use him. He's never been done, so you can kind of think going back to your retooling thought of the team. It's like Gambit's an easy.
Wolverine. He was in Origins.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, that's right. He was that.
He was John Carter.
It's forgettable.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Forgettable.
Yeah, that's right.
We all forgot about that.
There's a version of Deadpool in that too that was quite forgettable.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. The whole show. Unfortunately, the whole show could have been. It was a good movie besides those 2 aspects of it.
But I mean, that's what. And the fact that they put so much emphasis on the transitioning Kamala Khan from an Inhuman to a mutant, and putting so much emphasis on her being a mutant in that show, is even to go as far as playing the animated series theme song when they reveal it. It almost feels like we're all expecting one X-Men team, and when we finally get that X-Men team, where it's not going to be what we're all expecting.
Well, do you think they might bring Scar as another mutant? Right, he's a mutant. He'd be considered a mutant.
You're talking Hulk's
son, Scar?
Hulk's son. Would he be considered a mutant?
He wouldn't be a mutant, though, right? He's just born of Hulk's genetics, right?
The Gamma, yeah.
He's not a mutant. I could see them making their own little X-Men group just from what Miss Marvel, Scar. Maybe they're going to do a Young Avengers, but I'm hoping they stick with the original that Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, that GSX group, and make that the X-Men going forward. And then but I kind of think that whatever's in Marvel 10 years ago is what you're going to see today in comics. What you saw 10 years ago in comics is what we're going to see today, and so on and so forth. So they're laying out that blueprint of what they put in comics 10 years ago.
What I'm kind of afraid of is we're going to get that, like what they did with Spider-Man Far From Home. So you're going to get that. Oh, well, some big event's going to happen where the Charles Xavier is going to come from the other multiversal dimension to this timeline where Charles Xavier doesn't exist. And he's going to put together his X-Men team, or Magneto is going to put together an X-Men team. And it's going to kind of be like you see them coming out of the woodworks from different points in the MCU. So like they did with, in Far From Home, when they showed like, oh, well, this guy is both working under, for Tony Stark, and they had those pieces put in place there, pulling from old moments in old Marvel movies. I kind of almost wonder if they're going to go that route. Like I get that gut feeling that that's how they're going to handle this.
Yeah, it's not an easy way to bring the whole group in without saying they were hiding somewhere until now. So there's got to be some way to bring them in through multiverse or something. So
could you use that whole Krakoa genetic?
I mean, I would be kind of, I think that'd be a kind of throw everyone for a loop if they went with the Krakoa stuff right off the bat. Like, oh, well, we were in our own little island that you couldn't get to, where it was a safe haven for mutants. And
right.
Well, look at Wakanda, right? No one ever heard of it. So maybe they do the same thing.
That's true. It's a good way to go about it too.
I don't know. I think the like mutants have always been Among Us kind of plot line is kind of like an easy go to for that for X-Men in my like.
Well,
seems like a
they laid the foundation in She-Hulk by saying guy with claws was in a bar fight, so
yeah,
and saying Miss Marvel was a mutant and Namor's the first mutant, so you got a couple options there to kind of say they've been around somehow.
Yeah.
When did they say Miss Marvel was a?
It was like the post credits of the last episode.
Yeah, they talk about her mutation and then
they even play the X-Men music when they
when they talk about it, it's like like it's very subtle.
But... that's true. I mean, I think in that series they more focus on her bands. Though.
Wait, how's that go, Matt?
Focal point for it. Okay.
But all right, moving on here. Our roulette wheel of Reed Richards casting continues. Marvel fans are convinced with William Jackson Harper is playing Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The actor, perhaps known for his best role as Chidi Anagawe in NBC's The Good Place, recently joined the cast of the upcoming Marvel Studios threequel in a mysterious role. His role is said to be a closely guarded secret. The secret surrounding Harper's role has led many to Twitter to speculate that he has been cast as Earth 616 version of Reed Richards / Mr. Fantastic in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is important to note that Marvel Studios has declined to comment on Harper's involvement in Quantumania at this time.
Every time Marvel fans are convinced.
Well, the other thing that for me on this is like, you go back, and I think like Haley Atwell talked about it when she was doing Captain Carter, or it was somebody who was on the cast of Captain Carter who was asked like if they could come back in a Marvel movie and play a different character. And they were met with, well, when you sign the Marvel contract, Marvel agrees that it's in the contract you will not play any other character other than the character you're cast as. So it's like you look at Black Bolt, the same person who they cast in the Inhumans TV show plays Black Bolt in the movie. So it kind of makes me feel like they're like throwing this misdirection at you, and that John Krasinski is going to be our MCU Reed Richards.
Well, how does that work with Fox though? Because Josh Brolin was Thanos and Cable, so they're not going to bring Cable back then in the Deadpool movie because Brolin was already Thanos, right? And Evans was as Johnny Storm. So
yeah, and that's why Evans was Captain America in the MCU. But those movies aren't tied to the point are not tied to the MCU.
But with them buying that and then bringing that franchise in, how do you connect them?
Well, because they didn't have that Marvel contract with those studios. Those are different studios. So whatever contract they sign with Fox is null and void, and they'd have to sign a new one with Disney. So like Brolin would be. I don't know if they'll still let him play Thanos or if they'd let him play Cable, even though he's been Thanos already, because technically he just voiced Thanos. If you think about it, but
I think you guys covered that a while back. Now, when Marvel bought Fox, they bought all their contracts. I don't think they null and void the contract. I think they have to honor the contract.
Let them run out.
They bought it.
Yeah, they have to let them run out to like 2025.
Yeah, but I think the clause of if you're cast to play this character, that's who you're going to play in future MCU future MCU movies. We're not going to recast you as somebody else.
What about what about Professor X? I can't imagine he's going to do a slew of X-Men movies as Patrick Stewart. I mean, Patrick Stewart's not going to do. I love Patrick Stewart as Professor X, but he was really old looking, I thought, in Doctor Strange. I can't see him doing 20 years of X-Men movies.
No.
Yeah, so they're going to bring James McAvoy back to do it. I don't know.
I forgot about James McAvoy.
So they could bring him back, but that's a younger Professor X. You need a new person to do it. I heard they were going to use the guy who did the voice for. No. It was going to be the guy from Mandalorian, who was the grand.
Yeah, he was also in Breaking Bad as the main villain too.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't see that as Professor X, but I think he has a great part somewhere in Marvel, but I don't think in Professor X. I don't.
Oh,
I mean,
I think he could be I could totally see him as Professor X.
I don't know. With the shaved head, I think Patrick Stewart was the best, just because he had the look. So you got to find someone that same look with the shaved head. I think he would be. He was in The Boys. I mean, he was great in that too. He could play a great villain. I don't know if it's Doctor Doom. There's some rumors about who could play Doctor Doom, but I think he'd play a great villain.
I would
in the
love
MCU.
to see him as Doom, just with the accent. I think that would work so well.
If the shaved head is the prerequisite, they could do like a gender swap Professor X and get Jada Pinkett Smith.
Or you go like they haven't cast a Magneto yet. We haven't seen a
Magneto why not?
in the MCU. So you could have start the first movie with Patrick Stewart. Something happens where he's no longer around, and Magneto is now the leader of the X-Men moving forward. So because I've heard a lot of rumors of them trying to do an X-Men team without an Xavier. So
I don't mind that, but I got to say that's my same problem with DC when we talked about James Gunn is doing the same characters over and over again. You already had Magneto, you had Professor X. I mean, they're the main people of X-Men, just like Wolverine and Cyclops. Maybe Mr. Sinister, bring him into it. Like go a different direction with X-Men than what we've already seen in the past. Like someone I forget who said it, but seeing somebody we haven't yet seen on screen, Gambit, even though we did see him, but somebody who didn't have a great role, it was almost forgettable. So that's who we want to see. Have Mr. Sinister.
I think too, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think you could also do kind of, so like with Doctor Doom, for instance, like it seems like everyone has kind of come to the agreement that Doom is not going to be necessarily the first villain for the Fantastic Four movie, but he'll be a greater villain amongst the entire universe, like with Secret Wars and whatnot. You can kind of play with that same kind of thing, use like a Mr. Sinister or something in the X-Men movie, but then use Magneto as like a bigger bad, because he's got his whole war of mutants over humans, and kind of make that like another big level villain. Does that make sense?
Build to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they brought. I mean, I always asked myself, why did they have Loki in the first Avengers movie? And then as you look back at Avengers 1, Loki was the person they fought. So it made sense, and I thought, why didn't they just have Thanos? But they build up to that. So have Mr. Sinister or a lower level villain to build up to Magneto. Just like Roland was saying, just get to that point, start out smaller, but you can really build on it early on, I think, in that regard. You don't have to throw in again. Marvel makes every one of their villains become a good guy eventually. So why throw in your best villains and then turn them into good guys? So save them. Use these other lower level villains, let's say, and build it to the point where you have a Doom, and then he's in a couple movies, and then he dies at the end, and that's it. Like Thanos, he never changed. He was the same bad guy. And that was it. They had to get rid of him, right? He died. They had to kill him.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. Don't just make the guy turn into a good guy.
Yeah. But personally, I don't want them to make villains good guys. Villain is a villain for a reason.
Yeah.
If
kill
you
him, turn him
into
into
good
Onslaught.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know. They just have a way of turning people. DC does a much better job with their villains, but you can't take one. You can't take one dark side, or you can't take Thanos. Like when you get rid of those guys, they have plenty to use, but those are the majority of their storyline is Thanos, Galactus, Doom, Kang. You start to kill these people off, you got nothing left.
The thing that DC does is they don't try to make you sympathize with their villains.
Yeah, I think Marvel
can you imagine
wants...
DC making the Joker a good guy?
Well, until you get to Black Adam, and then they want you to sympathize with their villain.
Yeah,
that was a great movie. Great movie.
I think Marvel definitely wants you to have some level of empathy towards the villain. I think that's just kind of trending with kind of how it seems to me like the just straight good versus bad has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit, and it is more of that shades of gray is more of the kind of what you see and what's kind of trending more.
I was telling I was watching some something Matt sent me about, someone maybe talk about later, but I started watching the Dark Knight movie, and I was telling my son, I was like, this movie was made in 2008. It grossed $1 billion, which was the most amount a movie had made at that point prior to Titanic. And Titanic was made in 1997, I think. The world was a different place in 97 than it was in 2008. It was falling apart in 2008. And that movie portrayed that time frame, whereas Titanic portrayed 97 when things were better, and I think it was a different time. 2008, it was falling apart. That movie portrayed that timeline, and that Joker, that movie just had that timeline, just portrayed it, in my opinion, so very well. And I think that if to try to find that same type of magic for another villain movie going forward is going to be hard to find. The time frame we're in now is a lot of items where it's woke culture. Nothing against that, but I think it's a different time that these villains have to become heroes eventually. They can't just stay bad. 2008 was a bad time. It portrayed that. Now it's a different time where they have to become fixed.
You always want your villains to be redeemable.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it necessarily has to be that they have to turn to heroes. I just think you have to understand where they're coming from. Like, take the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. Like, Joker wasn't good, but like you can understand the torment he went through and why he became. That's why people, I think, loved that movie.
I don't see anyone crazier. I mean, he was crazy, but there was no one crazier than Heath Ledger in that 2008 Dark Knight.
Totally.
That dude was so out there, and it was just he was great at that. You won't find another villain like that. Brolin was good as Thanos, but the Joker torment, Joaquin Phoenix torment, that is like, we can understand that better than we can some mystical cosmic being. But Thanos never turned good. He didn't care.
Right.
What he did, he didn't care. He never went, we don't got to make him good. We don't have to make him feel bad. Not feel bad for him, I guess, is a bad way to say it, but just, they have to stay bad. In my opinion, they're doing it for a reason. Dr. Doom, Kang, they have a reason. We don't need to sympathize with them, I don't think.
Yeah, I think again, it's not necessarily that they have to turn good. I think it's just like, I think people want to see a justifiable reason as to why they're bad, their motivations. Does that make sense?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And I think you could do that easily. Yeah, I think you could do that easily with both Dr. Doom and Magneto, for instance. Like, it's easy to portray where their motivations come from. And
Magneto, even though he turned, I don't know, he wasn't always bad in the X-Men movies. You still knew that in a drop of a hat, he'd screw you over, right?
I mean, it's the same with Doom. They're both very situational characters. Like, they're going to be on whatever side is going to benefit them more.
Yeah, totally. Like, just in like X-Men 2 or X2, like, I think that is one of the most like forgotten but underrated, like one of the best comic book movies, and that's exactly what Magneto does. Like, he plays his cards, and at the end, he's like, "Oh, boom! I got to move here to take out humans and all mutants," and he doesn't even think twice about it.
Yep. Right. And even though you liked him some point in that movie, you knew he went back to the way he was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
The way they portray Magneto in both him and Professor X have the same goal. They're just going about it different ways. Right?
Totally.
They both want the mutants to be free and non-segregated from the human population. Magneto's just going about it the wrong way by doing it, so by making them the focal point where Xavier wanted them to be.
Good.
But they both want the best for mutant kind.
All right. Good stuff. Moving on here, though. With the release of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, if you're any sneakerheads, just around the corner, sneakerheads will soon be able to add another pair of Miles Morales-inspired Air Jordans to their Nike collection. According to Z Sneakers, The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse X Air Jordan 1 High OG sneakers are currently slated to drop the summer of 2023, which would coincide with the theatrical premiere of the movies. And I'm not a sneakerhead, but I think that this potential mock-up of what the shoes would look like is absolutely sick.
I agree.
Yeah, these are nice. These are nice.
Yeah.
Like everybody went crazy for the red and black Jordan 1s when the first movie came out, but those are just fire. But you're looking at dropping a pretty penny retail around $200 for those shoes when they come out.
Oh, I bet they're going to be more than that. I bet they'll be closer to $250, $300.
Yeah, because I bet you they sell out instantly.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, if you get them at $200, you got a deal because they're gonna pay eBay it like $1,000.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they're gonna sell out and everyone's gonna want them, and yeah, the market is gonna be crazy.
I'd be all into those.
I'd be into them too. Those are great.
Our last little bit of geek news tonight is, according to Deadline, Paul Benetti will return in a new Disney Plus series as a synthesized hero, the Vision. The series has the working title Vision Quest, and would be the second spin-off WandaVision after Agatha Coven of Chaos. Although no plot details are official, sources say that the show will be about Vision trying to regain his memories and humanity. Apparently, Marvel Studios has already started writing in the writer's room. This suggests it is indeed a series and not a special presentation. Although she won't co-star, word is Elizabeth Olsen may appear as Wanda Maximoff in some capacity.
Will Kevin Bacon be making his appearance in this movie as well?
I don't know. I think they're saving that just for Guardians. But everybody who's got those West Coast Avenger White Vision books, start popping them off again, huh?
Yeah, get ready.
Get ready to start throwing them up. Try and get your money back from the first time you got burned.
I'm trying to get rid of them Wonder Man books I got because he was supposed to be in the goddamn WandaVision. So we'll see.
Well, he's got his own show coming out, so one day.
Hopefully, that was the hope. But it'd be cool because Vision got his what do you call it? His thoughts from Wonder Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, wasn't there a rumor? Wasn't there a rumor this week that the guy from the Watchmen show, I don't remember Watchmen kid, the black guy that played the guy that's all blue, is being cast as Wonder Man?
Yes. Yeah, he also played Black Manta, right? In Aquaman.
Black who?
Yes, he did.
Not Black Manta. Is that Black?
Black Manta.
Black Manta. Yabeen, or I forget the name. He's got it. It's I couldn't pronounce it, but I can't think of it on the top of my head.
I don't think he played Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah,
he did.
Are you talking about the guy who said that?
It's in the Watchmen TV show.
It's a clown role.
Yeah, the HBO
the
series,
show.
not the movie.
Acts in clown shows.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I don't think he was in the movie. Okay. Yeah, I never saw the TV
Dr.
show.
Manhattan. That's his name.
Yeah, he was blue and naked. It wasn't enjoyable.
That show was really good, though.
Oh, it was. I love that show, but I could have used use less of him.
Yes.
Less schlong.
Yes.
But all right, that's it for our geek news. Let's get into a little bit of Star Trek with Ish. Ish is going to talk to us real quick about Star Wars #1 from IDW. Drop it on us, Ish.
Really? You said Star Wars?
I did. Yep.
All right.
Okay, I'll fix it. Star
What's
Trek.
the difference?
One is
Trek.
a fantasy series. The other is a science fiction series.
Oh,
It's a pretty big difference.
gotcha.
Anyways, we definitely got some Star Trek goodness this week with this issue #1 dropping the new flagship series. If you're a fan of Star Trek, you will love this. This actually crosses over 4 series: original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Star Trek Voyager, all 4 merge onto one new ship in a new story. So it's a lot. It's it's definitely fan service for the Star Trek fans, but it's of the good kind.
Is this their Secret Wars 2 with all the crossovers?
Yeah, no, but by crossover I mean characters from all the series are now together as one. So you can see from the cover, they have Cisco is now the captain. He's got Dr. Crusher from Next Generation.
Cisco, like from that Next Generation. Thong guy.
I was just about to make that joke.
Yeah,
I was like, that's not Cisco. He doesn't have white hair.
Thong.
So for Deep Space Nine fans, Deep Space Nine ended with Benjamin Sisko joining the Prophets in the wormhole, and now this book, and they say this book is canon. They totally explain the first couple of his reemergence from the wormhole, and the how and the why. The book does a pretty good job in the first couple pages of kind of summing up, wrapping up, almost like all of Star Trek, just to kind of get you up to that point. I don't know how this reads if you're not familiar with the other shows and you don't know these characters and you just kind of jump in blindly on this. Honestly, I don't know how that would read, but for me, it's the complete opposite. Since I know all the characters and seen them all, like seen them back and then seeing them together in a new series. There's also a couple first appearances. I guess Star Trek comics have never been known for any sort of spec. I've never known anyone to spec on Star Trek comics, but there is 2 first appearances in this. So that's kind of a new thing also that IDW is doing.
You can be the first issue. You can start a trend.
Introducing new characters. There you go.
How's that? That they never had any spec on.
I'm giving it. Do you know anyone who's ever spec'd on Star Trek?
No, I'm just wondering, like, why?
Because nobody cares.
I think the only people, there's a lot of Star Trek comics out there, and I'm pretty sure the only people who buy them are Trek fans, and they collect them. They buy them and they keep them. It's not, nobody's flipping Star Trek books or,
I mean, Star Wars got, because they have, Han Solo's daughter in it, or because of Grand Admiral Thrawn is in it. So that's why you spec on them. But I'm just surprised the same thing hasn't happened with Star Trek, because you have all these shows that have come out recently, or at least one of them that, but again, we don't want movies to move the books. In my opinion, you need the franchise to move it, not the movies. You know what I mean?
And you know what? And that's kind of part of the Star Trek philosophy for Star Trek fans. Monetizing our fandom is not something Trekkies do.
Yeah.
So you see that in other fandoms, especially comic books, Star Wars, Marvel, where the monetization of whatever you're buying or collecting is pretty big deal, the value. In Star Trek, it's never really been like that.
Because they want it to be like a different culture in the future,
Star
right?
Trek's philosophy.
With no money. A no money future.
Well,
right?
there is money. There is money.
Credits.
They say there's no money, but there actually is money in Star Trek. But it's not the just the greed. The greed for profit is not. That's part of Star Trek's philosophy. So you assume it kind of trickles down into the fandom also. And then you see and stuff like that. Yeah, nobody specs on Star Trek books. Nobody flips them to make money.
I think the Ferengi would argue with that, right?
Ferengi.
Fair enough. And I saw you showed a Gold Key book there.
Yeah, this is.
Those are
I'm
beautiful.
not sure what
I love the Star Trek Gold Keys.
What I had just and
I just like the way they wrote the name. It just makes it look like old school. Just the way it's written.
Well, these Gold Key books
totally
are
old school.
great.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah. So
sorry,
for this might be a new trend for IW. That. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what is a Gold Key? I don't know anything about Star Trek, so I'm just curious what a Gold Key was.
Gold Key was the original publisher of Star Trek comics, and they went way off the rails. The writers of the Gold Key Star Trek comics, like I don't even know if they ever even watched an episode of Star Trek. They just kind of made up their own shit. So it gets into some pretty wild science fiction, but it's like the covers, the artwork is really sharp. Those are cool books to collect. But it's the publisher that's Gold Key.
Got it.
He used a lot of the same stuff for all their stuff. Like they also did Lost in Space, or Space Family Robinson. So
Right.
they had the same kind of philosophy of writers and what they did there.
Good stuff. So you recommend this ish?
I do, and maybe IDW is maybe they're kind of taking a page out of Marvel and Disney and Star Wars and trying to create, because they are stressing that this is like a new flagship book that's going to lead off into other titles and spin-offs and more crossover events. So maybe they are really kind of going for this more shared universe kind of philosophy, which Star Trek was always just kind of a shared universe just in of itself. You never had to like push it, but maybe now that's a new strategy they're doing. So it's cool. So maybe we might see some, for the first time, people specking on these comics for first appearances and stuff. Who knows?
Is this the first time they've said a comic book was canon?
No, it's not. Like, so for the JJ Trek, those comic books were canon. They took place in between the movies and stuff.
Like, on the whole, yeah. Okay.
I have a question. Is that Darth Maul in the background?
Yes, it is. 100%.
Kremlin Dawn comes in and takes over.
It's Mephisto.
There you go.
There you go. That too.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yep.
That's how you get it all tied in together.
Good stuff, Ish. All right. Moving into our big segment. What's up? You got more you want to say on the Trek, Ish?
No. I was just closing out. I just said I enjoyed it. Thumbs up. Good stuff.
Oh. Okay. Getting into our big meat and potatoes subject for the evening. With our discussion with Black Adam last week, Ish brought up maybe we should rank the DC movies. And I said, yeah, that could be fun, but for the sake of time, let's just rank the Snyderverse movies and shows. So this is all the rankings of the DC movies that fall within the realm of Snyderverse. So yes, Peacemaker's in there.
Refer to as the DC EU.
EU, yes.
So even a series, is it part of it?
The now defunct
Peacemaker is a part of it. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So your options are S tier, A tier, B, C, D, or trash if the movie is absolutely terrible. And we'll start off. Well, let's start off with the movie that kicked off kind of the Snyderverse. I mean, with Man of Steel.
That's an A tier, or whatever
I was gonna say A tier as well.
Yeah.
Right, that's the highest tier, right? A or
S is
no,
highest.
S would be the highest, but
okay, S.
I don't think
I thought S meant shit. S doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, I feel like
superior.
I don't think any.
I'm giving it C tier.
Really?
I'm not a fan
This
of
isn't
Man of
Star
Steel.
Trek.
I'm not a
What are you
fan
talking
of Henry
about?
Cavill. So much of that movie bugs me. I'm giving it a C. I know it's popular with some people. A lot of people love it.
So
movie,
are we ranking these? Are we ranking these relative to each other, or are we ranking these like compared to other movies?
I think we kind of figure out an average.
Relative to each other.
So you guys all pick
DC.
one, and then I pick a bottom. It can bump it down, or vice versa.
Well, because I agree with you, it's a C level movie, but amongst the DC EU, it's probably the A level movie.
Yeah, we're just comparing it to all of them as movies in the DCEU. We're not comparing them to like Marvel or anything like that.
Okay,
or Gone with the Wind or anything like that.
Yeah,
Goonies.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Well,
that's why
we're also as movies just standing by themselves too. We got to take that into consideration.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, in and of themselves.
That one started the Snyderverse, is what you're saying. Man of Steel did, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would give it an S tier, like a top tier.
To me, it's a C tier for the portrayal of the character, the direction of the character. I don't feel like it. That's not the Superman you grew up with. Like, he's always been that Boy Scout that, they made him too dark. I don't think he's a good representation of that character. So to me, this movie is probably C-list at best for me personally.
I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think that the fact that it's established a character in a way that they could utilize him for 3-4 more movies, it means more that way. You know, like Iron Man 1 was really good. Iron Man 2 and 3 kind of sucked, but still no one thinks any differently of Iron Man. So because Man of Steel wasn't the greatest movie, but still established him, you had Zod in there. I mean, there was a lot of good points of that movie, but it wasn't the character you're used to, but it was the character they used throughout, who had a good standing throughout the rest of the movies.
But the other thing to keep in mind too is there any movie on the list in the Snyderverse that you'd enjoy watching over Man of Steel, and that can kind of sway your
True. Okay.
your ranking too.
There were other movies I'd rather watch than that one.
I'd put it B.
You got B sticks?
I got B. I think it's a good movie. It could have been better. It was a good jumping in point
So is every movie going to have a spot? Like there are going to be 6 spots here, or?
Yeah, every movie will have a spot on the list.
So there's only 6 we're going over.
No. We're going over all 13.
No, there could be like multiple A's, multiple B's.
Yeah, there could be multiple
Okay.
A's and B's or C's. Yeah.
All right, to go ahead and put it in C then.
Rowan, you're going C?
Well,
yeah, I'm totally good with
C. JP, you wanted it an S.
I did, but I guess if you look at it, when I watch something,
an S movie, don't settle for the C.
Don't sway your vote on what we say. Stand up. Like if you feel it's an S, then
I think. I mean, in terms of there's other movies I would rather watch than that. If that's the criteria, then that's fine.
So I think we all agree that Sticks is right, and maybe
look at it this
B?
way: when we did the Batman movies,
I think
we
the
got
average
Batman and Robin into the C tier.
That's an A tier. That's an S tier. Come on now. There's nothing. There's not nipples on Batman. Put it in the S tier. Come on now.
No. Everyone put it dead last. I argued Batman and Robin into a C tier. I was very proud of that.
You did.
The nipple
True
bump.
story.
Nipples.
So B, if we all go with B,
story.
or
Yeah, I think B works.
I think B is the average out of those, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, because JP's S tier.
I give it a strong B minus.
I might have more than one in the S tier that you guys may bump down, but I would put a couple on the S tier and the rest maybe fall underneath there. So I can be swayed
S tier
down.
has to be tough. To make S tier almost has to be S tier almost needs consensus to make it an S tier.
I think there's only really one S tier in this list. So
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
No.
That's why it's S tier, right?
Because it starts with an S.
Yeah.
We'll move over
I think that's how that works.
to
What's next?
do Wonder Woman, the first one.
Trash.
Trash for the first Wonder Woman.
Come on, geeky.
No, I give that probably an A.
Yeah.
I thought they really did Wonder Woman good in this movie. I think this one was way better than the other movies.
Well, I mean, like you say, would you watch it again? Yeah. So it's gonna be B or better, I'd say. But I have other movies ranked higher than that. I mean, I put together my list, and I it's not a top of my list movie.
I would say
I
it's
wasn't
going to be a B for me.
I think
I'd
Wonder
say an
Woman
A.
is more rewatchable. Quite a few of these movies.
It's probably easier to make an argument that it's A over B than a C over B. So, but I'm feeling B.
Yeah. I would be all right with A, but I think this is the top movie for the
Well,
for the
okay,
franchise.
so I go B. What do you got, Sticks?
I said S. I think this is the best
S?
movie in the bunch.
Rowan, what do you got?
Yeah, so I should preface. I personally just the only movies I think that are even watchable again to me are Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, and I don't even think they're that great. But if we're going relative to each other, I mean, I put this right up there with Man of Steel, so I'd say B tier.
JP has left the building. Ish, what do you got?
I'm giving it. I'll say B.
So then, Sticks giving it an S would bump it to an A.
Well, JP's a deciding.
Yeah, JP will be the
guess.
deciding vote, I guess. When
Can't remember what he said. He said something earlier, but I don't remember.
Well, right now we have 3 Bs and 1 A. So I think that The B
All right,
wins
so we'll
out.
keep it a B then.
Sorry, Sticks.
Yeah.
Do you
Wait, you said S or A?
I said S.
You said oh.
that's why I say it would bump
But
it
it-
to
but
an
it-
A.
Is one S equal to 3 B's? Or,
No, I would say B takes it then. It all
And it
depends
would
on
fall
what
into the
JP
B.
says.
I think the average would be the B.
I think if
So
JP says A or above, it goes.
I
to
said
A.
B. I'm saying B
Okay.
on that one.
So it's
Sorry,
B
guys.
then. No, you're good.
okay, so we got 4 B's and 1 S. All right.
Yeah.
So B it is.
One right
let's,
answer, 4 wrong answers.
Let's do whatever sticks. Birds of Prey. I'm going trash with this movie.
Yeah, I'm
Trash.
surprised it's even on the damn list.
I didn't even
That
see
is
it, so
garbage.
I'm gonna agree with you guys.
Sticks.
That movie made me hate Harley Quinn. I can't stand Harley Quinn now. It's because of that movie. I'm done with her.
Track with that. What is it? Is this the one that's the emancipation of Harley
Yeah, of
Quinn or
Harley
whatever they call
Quinn.
that after? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so bad that they have to give it 2 names just to get you interested.
Right. So trash it is.
Trash.
Shazam. First Shazam.
I would put
How about
that
you, Matt?
A.
Let's just go in order.
That's an
Top
that's
to
an
bottom.
S tier.
Make it easy.
I could go with A. I wasn't a big fan of the Shazam movie, but I would definitely watch it over Man of Steel or Wonder Woman. So I could go A with it. I'm not gonna go
Shazam
S.
was better than I thought it was going to be. I guess it's going to be like that Black Adam. You didn't expect much, and it turned out to be great. You know,
Yeah.
Shazam I thought was a weird choice for them, and so that's why I said A. I think it's rewatchable. It's rewatchable, but
We're still on Shazam, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So we got
So
2
you're
A's.
going A, Sticks.
A.
I'll go A. Rowan.
I haven't seen Shazam.
Oh no.
So
Oh my gosh, you're
I
missing
don't
out.
well, I
Absolutely.
think it's like I've been.
You
so-
have to watch that tomorrow. You have to watch that tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
There's
as soon
gonna
as
be
we're
a lot.
done
There's
here,
gonna be a
we'll
lot
watch
of these
it.
movies I've not seen.
It's definitely
Um,
rewatchable. It's a fun movie. It's a great movie
I'm
for
very
kids.
comfortable.
Mhm.
It is, and I'm very comfortable with giving it a B. So I'm trying to think if I can give it an A or not. I don't know. What do you think, JP?
But- I would watch it again over Wonder Woman, and I would watch Man of Steel over Wonder Woman. So I would almost have to put in the B if Wonder Woman's there. Like, in my opinion, like I would watch 2 of the 3 movies that in B I would watch again, and that's one of them I would put in there. I don't think it can go to an A over Man of Steel, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll give it a B too. Yeah.
So we have 2 B's and 2 A's, huh?
Yeah.
We need a deciding vote. Chat or Rowan, either one of us give us a deciding vote.
I'll
Yeah,
go with
someone in
B.
the chat. Let the chat decide.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Well, he said he's gonna go with B.
S. Who
Well, you
wrote
haven't
S?
seen the movie.
Yeah, he's just going with the.
I'm going with what you
agree.
convinced me of.
Shazam's kind of a B-level character anyway, I guess. It was a good movie. I couldn't put it above Man of Steel, in my opinion. Wonder Woman, if Man of Steel was an A, I would put Wonder Woman and Shazam in B.
I
Like
put
right
it
now,
A.
I'd probably rather watch Shazam than those 2 movies. But over time, like rewatching them multiple times, I don't know if I'd be watching Shazam that much. As
I
let's
just
say
have
I'd
fun.
revisit Wonder Woman.
Watching Shazam versus these other 2, and that's why I would put it over that. But I mean, I can go with B. I could make a case for B.
Let me say one thing. Was not Zod in Man of Steel a cool villain? The way he played that character was worth that movie itself.
Yeah.
Right? So Shazam, he had a goofy ass villains. I mean, the guy played it well, but it wasn't like I didn't find it to be that great. Shazam himself, I thought that was a cool concept. The kids and turning into a superhero, all that kind of stuff was great. But Man of Steel, I thought, should be bumped up to an A. That's just my opinion. And the other two could be on the B level, just because they were good movies, but not great.
All right. Well, we can keep it a B then, to be in all seriousness. All right, Aquaman.
Trash.
The first Aquaman. Trash? I'd say it's at least a C.
I'm all right with that.
Or D, because that's what
I'll give it an
Amber
D.
Heard likes to do on pillows.
Yeah, I'd stick with D on that for me.
Amber Heard makes it an S. Otherwise, it's a D.
Amber Heard makes it an S. What do you got, Sticks?
Yeah, I guess you could put it in the D for Deuce with Amber Heard there.
Zaggy says Aquaman C because it got girls wet.
That's why I watched it.
Now, Aquaman was just dumb. You know, it was.
But it made $1 billion. How the hell did it make $1 billion?
Yeah, it's still the biggest grossing DC because it did huge in China. Because people in China, this is no joke, they love movies about fish, mermaid, merman, fish stuff. That shit sells, and that's why it's still the highest grossing DC movie. Yeah, just because of Aquaman, and it's underwater and it's fish.
China.
We're
gonna put a fish in it.
Do they have fishophilia?
Did Finding Nemo make $1 billion there?
Probably. There's a mermaid movie that's like one of the highest grossing movies worldwide of all time. Never ever played in the US or Europe, just mostly in China and Asia, about this mermaid, and it fucking made like over $1 billion.
You mean Splash?
No, this was recently in the last couple of years.
Oh, okay.
So we're going D with.
I don't know why Harvin.
I would keep it D.
Thinks I'm lying.
I think we all said D.
No, he says Ish doesn't lie, question mark. So he's agreeing with you.
No. Okay.
All right, let's
Wasn't it?
let's do Zack Snyder's Justice League.
So that's like the 4-hour extended cut version?
Yeah.
S.
No.
I'd give it a C.
I'm thinking
fanboy
B.
all over it. A C, damn.
I'd give it a C because there's some knocking factors here. One, it came out years after the original theatrical cut. Two, it's 4 hours long. Three, Zack Snyder had a chance to listen to everybody's gripe about the first Justice League. He had the chance to listen to everybody's gripe about the first Justice League and remake it to the way he wanted it, and it still was kind of a meh movie.
I have to say, I thought having the black suit Superman in there and Darkseid made that movie better.
Darkseid made the movie better over Steppenwolf in the first one, yes, but Zach says C because it's too long.
It's too long, but I mean, it was what else do we have to do during COVID but watch a 4-hour long Snyder Cut version? So most people who cared enough watched it then. So I think you can put it in a B because Darkseid was in it, Black Suit Superman, Martian Manhunter. There's a lot of stuff that was in that movie that made that movie better because it was remade, and it could have been a 2-parter. And if you watch it that way, it's not that bad.
So Zaggy says C. I say C. What do you have, Sticks?
I have C as well. I thought it was better than the original cut, but I don't think it. I don't think it pushed it much higher than when I originally watched it. I don't think it's any different of a movie. Yeah, there's a couple characters in there that make it better, but I don't think it pushed it anywhere different.
Rowan?
C.
Ish?
S.
Okay, S.
Nice. So that makes it a B.
Yeah. So, J, and I get. What are you giving it, JP? A B?
I give it a B.
So then, yeah, I guess.
Have I given anything less than a B just yet? Except Wonder Woman.
Except Aquaman and Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey.
So I guess we settle on. Well, does Ish's S really push it to a B though? Like, I'll give it.
So you got,
it's fine.
You got 3 C's, an S, and a B.
Yeah, 3 C's, an S, and a B. I think
feel
it
like
stays.
that's a B, then.
That's
You feel like that's a B?
I think the S counteracts the 2 C's and averages it out to
and then
the
you
B.
have the one.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I pushed it to B. Yeah.
Black Adam.
Oh, that's definitely an S.
You don't. I think you sniffed too many gas fumes while you're cutting the lawn today, there, JP.
Slightly.
I give it an A though. I give it an A. I didn't hate the movie, but it did have issues. I'd give
Holy
it an
shit.
A because I would definitely watch it over Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Shazam, or Justice League.
Hell no. Wow, that's good. That's wow. Okay. How many times did you see it?
I've only seen it once.
Okay.
But if it was on HBO Max or HBO, I would probably watch it again.
Over Man of Steel.
Over Man of Steel, yes.
I would probably. I hate to keep saying the same thing, but I'd probably put it in a C or a B myself.
I'm just giving again. I'm giving it an A over. Just I gave the movie I gave it a 5, but I would watch it over the movies that are in the B.
All right, good.
I have not seen it yet, so I can't give you a rating for it.
All right.
So I'm going to abstain.
Ish hasn't seen it either.
Abstain.
Zaggy says B because he's not a bad guy. So I guess we're gonna go B with it then, because that's 2 B's to an A. Because Ish hasn't seen it yet either, have you?
As a comic book shop owner, you have to see all these comic book movies. It's a write-off. It's a write-off.
And I've been told that. But remember what happened last week? You guys went and saw it for me.
Yeah.
True.
It's sharing.
We saved you the money.
Sharing is caring.
I decided if there is, an R-rated extended cut on Blu-ray, I will fork out the whatever $30-$35 for that. Probably get the nice Steelbook edition, and I will get that. So I don't know if I want to go see in theaters and do that.
Yeah.
So I'll eventually see it.
I'm still salty at the fact that I had to go watch Thor: Love and Thunder, and I took all my kids, and it cost me almost $100 to watch that piece of crap show. So.
You paid $100 to be kicked in the nuts and slapped in the face for 2 hours.
Yep, I was pissed. And then we had to eat afterwards. It cost me $200 to go to the goddamn movie. I was pissed.
That's rough.
I'm sorry. All right, Suicide Squad, the original Suicide Squad
from 2016.
Yes,
trash.
Isn't it David Ayers? Suicide Squad. Jared Leto, Will Smith, Harley Quinn.
Trash.
I go trash too.
Okay, I'll go with you. I'll let you guys take that one. Trash.
Ish.
I'm saying C. C.
Son of a bitch.
I wouldn't go much more above a D for that one. So
we got 2 trashes, a C. Well, JP, you're saying trash too?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I'd say D maybe. Like you can maybe convince me to a D because I like Harley Quinn, but it's probably trash.
Dix, what do you got?
Man, I do not like this movie, but I don't think it's trash.
Is it more enjoyable to you than a Harley?
I'm like the only person in the world.
Harley Quinn.
Only slightly.
Come on, it's way better than that.
Only
I personally,
slightly.
I think Jared Leto as the
give
Joker. His take was terrifying. I thought it was memorable. But I know I'm probably the only person in the world who thinks that.
You are probably the only person in the world that. Well, you and Kyle. So D.
I'm a David Ayers fan, and I love Jared Leto Joker. The rest of the movie, yeah, it's pretty awful.
Ish, you were messing up the tier list, man. You were all
Wasn't
over
Joker
the place,
only
dude.
in it for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says there could be like there's so much left out. There could have been like a whole hour of Joker still in that movie.
God.
Still probably would have been bad. Well, we'll follow it up. The James Gunn Suicide Squad.
That's got to be an. I'd put that A.
See,
Yeah.
I enjoyed Black Adam more than the Gunn Suicide Squad.
There's got to
I
be
think-
one A out of all these.
I think until I see Black Adam, and if I think about, I still put this Suicide Squad as an A. I thought it was better than the first.
We got 2
Oh.
A's.
It was
I'm
better
gonna
than Black
go-
Adam.
I'm gonna go B-ish.
I'm going C.
We
Wow.
got 2 A's, a B, and a C.
I'm going B too.
B. All right. So B it is.
Damn. DC's just a B level show.
Hey,
B level universe. Christ.
Was
At best.
Ish was Suicide Squad 2 the movie that made you have to buy HBO Max?
No,
To
that
watch
was
it.
Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman.
It was
84.
Wonder Woman 84.
That was
And,
when I first
part
bought
of me
HBO
wishes
Max.
Part of me wishes I had seen Suicide Squad in theaters. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. I watched it at home. I was like, man, there's some parts I love Starro. Starro was really weird. I want more Starro. I like Polka Dot Man. The rest, I don't know.
Wasn't the
Take it
scene
or
where
leave it.
Harley
I like
Quinn-
Peacemaker the show, but
I thought Harley Quinn
Quinn
her when she escaped and was kicking everyone's ass, and it was the flowers and all the lights, and that was a cool scene. I thought Idris Elba did a great job. I thought Peacemaker was great. I thought the other guy who played
was super bland and generic. He didn't do anything to that character. I think a lot of people thought that he was just recast in the Will Smith role. They didn't even realize it was a whole different character.
yeah, Bloodsport versus who was the other name?
Versus
Deadshot.
Deadshot.
Deadshot. So they should have done a better job of switching that
right.
up and make somebody else the head role, because it looked like this. I thought the same thing until I realized that I had to make the differential there. But
I like the fact that it lives up to its name and they kill
I think Birds of
everybody,
Prey
like,
also.
right at the beginning
The
of
way
the movie.
Birds of
put it this way:
The way
the
Birds of
scene
Prey
where
ruined Harley
they
Quinn,
hit the beach and everyone got killed. Nathan
Mhm.
Fillion, everyone else got killed, and what's the guy from SNL died? I mean,
Yeah,
that
Pete
plus
Davidson.
the Harley Quinn, plus the end of the movie,
So-
the Starro. I mean, overall, I think that had to at least be an A in my opinion. But
So, as a spoiler for you, Nathan Fillion does not die. Neither did Weasel. Those are the
Yeah.
only two that.
Weasel didn't die, but I thought
No, Nathan Fillion's character only gets his
Arm blown off.
arms blown off.
Yeah.
And
I thought he was a THC or something. He was something. His name was THK or the something about where he's supposed to come apart, right? That's his whole
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
right. But if you watch the movie and you pay attention to the monitors, his character is still considered having a heartbeat, so still not killed in action.
All right, good. Maybe he'll come back. Well, but again, I just thought overall that was a cool opening scene to have a movie with. We're like, what the hell? It was
Oh yeah.
so
Peacemaker, S tier, right? I mean,
heck yeah.
Yeah.
anybody feel that Peacemaker should not be an S tier? I see
I'd
you.
say
I
A.
see your shit-eating grin-ish. Let's have it.
I don't know if I wouldn't say S, but A.
Damn. That was my favorite show. I cannot wait till season 2. I love that show.
Rowan, what do you got?
If everyone
yeah,
else is
I've
S,
not-
then
I've
it's
not
S.
watched a Peacemaker show.
You haven't watched Peacemaker either?
My God.
Oh my God, man.
That's
Like I said,
I would
I've
almost
not seen a lot of these.
recommend to watch The Peacemaker. You don't have to watch Suicide Squad. It would probably help. But to watch Peacemaker, it's hilarious. It's off the wall. It's a funny show. I mean, not for kids by any stretch.
I've heard it's great. From what I've heard from friends and whatnot, I've heard it's great.
Ish, I don't care what you say. I'm gonna go S tier with it because it belongs in the S tier. Your negativeness. Wonder Woman 84.
Trash. Yep.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. Sticks.
D. It wasn't. I didn't think it was straight trash, but I didn't think it's any higher than that.
Here we go, Ish. What do you got?
D.
2 trashes and 2 Ds. You're the decider, Rowan. What do you got?
I got D on it too.
D?
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to go into the Ds.
I think it's watchable. It's just not. Yeah, it's just
D's
not really
nuts.
that great of a movie. Yeah, it's not D's nuts. Yeah.
It's barely watchable. Yeah. It's not egregiously horrendous. But it's just kind of lame.
Batman versus Superman.
Trash.
S.
S.
Wait.
Yeah.
This is the extended version, right?
No.
This is the extended version.
You made the case to remove the extended version. You said you only wanted straight theatrical, other than Justice League.
No. I said the complete opposite of that. I said the complete opposite. Forget the theatrical version.
Okay, so then we'll do the
Extended
extended.
cut,
Yes,
matters.
we'll do the extended cut then.
I don't know if I've seen the extended
I
cut.
guess as
I know
long
there's
as
some
everyone's
differences.
seen it.
I've not seen
There's huge
it, but I would put either
Yeah,
cut
what's-
above at an S. I would definitely put it in an S.
What is in the extended cut? Yeah, because I don't think I've seen the extended cut.
I haven't seen the extended cut either.
It's like an hour longer.
Good.
All right, well then we're just gonna go with the theatrical cut if it's just like an hour longer.
Trash.
Heck no, S.
I think it's trash too.
How is that trash?
Like the first
The
5
whole
minutes is like a
can't-
Pontiac commercial.
Yeah,
A
the whole
Pontiac commercial?
Martha thing alone.
No, it legitimately is a Pontiac commercial. They literally used the same footage from the movie in the Pontiac commercial. When like who was it's like running around in the street in that car? It's a Pontiac commercial.
Bruce Wayne, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like it's so I'll tell you something. So I actually took all of my groomsmen to see this the night before my wedding. We were all so pumped up to see it, and it just sucked ass.
You were looking forward to it, and it's just like going to see Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. I had to pay $200 to see it because I paid for everyone to go, just like you had to pay for your kids.
I got to see this movie early at a press screening, and I thought that free was too much to pay for it.
Yeah.
The whole Martha thing alone, like, your mom's name is Martha, so was mine. Let's hug. It just,
Isn't that how? Isn't that how it
I
goes?
like how that one villain had to use a flamethrower to kill her. Like that was the threat.
and Batman's sitting here shooting people, and it's just
Yeah, but he beat those people to a pulp, and you can't beat that fight scene. I mean, I just watched that tonight, and that was my favorite scene in that movie. He just beat those people senseless, and I love that.
That Fleck is badass.
Yeah,
he is.
He was badass in that movie. I just thought he just kicked some ass in that scene. He was effing some people up, and
He was
I
the
liked
best
it.
part of that movie. Henry Cavill sucked in that movie.
I like the whole fact that he was working out to beat Superman, made a suit, and got a kryptonite spear, and then went after him, and was about to kill the guy, and then someone had to stop him. You know, like it was Doomsday looked pretty good. You know, Batman was killer. You know, I like Martha. You can't beat having her in the movie. What's her name? From the
Diane
80s.
Keaton or something?
Yeah.
It's still trash. Not
Yeah.
a good movie.
Superman was saved by Batman's dead mother.
Yes.
Yeah. And doesn't Bruce Wayne, don't you see him fall down the hole and he's like lifted up by like just a typhoon or like a twister of bats?
Yeah.
Isn't
No,
that
that's
the
in-
beginning of this movie.
No. That's in Batman Begins.
He's like
No.
lifted up by it though.
I don't remember
They
him
just
falling
like
into it.
surround him.
Yeah, he falls into that chasm.
The well
Yeah.
Yeah.
as a kid.
I don't remember that. I gotta watch that again then. I missed that. I thought that was Alfred
See?
picking him up and say, "Why do we fall, sir?" So we can get
No,
back up.
that-
Like
yeah,
that was-
that's
No, that
the
was his
Dark
dad.
Knight.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
All right, here we go. I'm going
It
trash.
can't be trash. It can't be trash.
6, what do you got?
I did not like this movie. I'll give it trash.
Trash.
I did not like it.
Ro, it's
It's got at least
trash.
be a C.
Extended cut is an S.
See, so
Okay.
we give it a B
So
in the middle.
Are you gonna give it a D then?
Yeah, my response to that is if it takes an extra hour to get you 4 bumps, then it has to be a C or a D.
That's what she said.
That's if you laid out all the movies in front of me, that's the one movie I'd probably want to watch above all the others.
I watched it. I just watched that again tonight.
It's got a lot packed into it.
I could watch that fight scene over and over again.
Yes, there's Martha.
Bruce Wayne falling in a hole.
I just watched that fight scene. That's all I watched. He just pummels those people, breaking arms and shit. It was cool. It's definitely a cool fight scene. The end of the movie is the best.
All I see now in my head is you
I agree
sitting
with
there
that.
watching this movie, and then all of a sudden, like the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the hey, where he's like pointing at himself on TV when that fight scene comes on.
Yeah. Well, I have not seen the entire Matrix
Yes.
movie in the past 15 years because I watch it from the time they go into the building to get Morpheus. That's the only part I watch of that show. I've seen it all, but it's been so damn long. I just started at that part when he walks into the building and it kicks ass, and that's my entire movie of Matrix. So same with Batman versus Superman.
I've tried to watch The Matrix on multiple times. I always fall asleep. It's
How
like,
do you fall? Lord,
It's
you
like
can
a-
fall asleep to Lord of the Rings. You cannot fall asleep to the Matrix.
I can't fall asleep to Lord of the Rings.
I
love
fell
those
asleep
movies.
to the Matrix.
I just said this to my son. I said, we watched Blade Runner 2049, and I said, I have tried to watch the original. I'm watching 2049 with you, and I'm still bored. It's a great concept. It's got great actors. Harrison Ford, let's say. I cannot get into this movie, but I could watch Matrix without falling asleep 10 times in a row. I cannot watch Lord of the Rings. It's boring as hell for me. And I can't watch Blade Runner.
All right,
They're all,
so-
I'm the total opposite. I can watch Blade Runner, watch the shit out of Lord of the Rings. I have never ever seen The Matrix all the way through because I
My
fall
God.
asleep every time.
Oh.
I can go C. I'd rather watch
I can do
Batman
14
versus
hours
Superman.
of Lord of the Rings.
I'd rather watch
Plus.
Batman Superman over Aquaman, over Suicide Squad, and over Wonder Woman 84 and Birds of Prey. So I would go C, but that's as high as I'm going.
damn you.
Well, what do we have? Three trashes and 2 S's.
You have 3 trashes and 2 S's.
I think that equals a C.
I would feel it would be a D, but I'll put it in C. Because I would watch it over Aquaman or the original Suicide Squad or Wonder Woman 84. All right. And last but certainly not least, the original cut of the Justice League.
I would put in a C.
The his name is escaping me now.
Yas Whedon.
Yeah, the Joss Whedon cut.
Yas Whedon. I give it
The
a
Justice
D.
League. D?
Yeah, I'm going D as well.
I'm also going D. Sticks?
D. Yeah, sure.
D it
Sticks,
is.
you like the
I
D?
think- If that's what's there for me, it's the D.
So there you have it. We have Peacemaker S, the B's, no A, B's, Superman, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Justice League, the Snyder Cut, Black Adam, and the James Gunn Suicide Squad, followed by C's of Batman v Superman. D's are Aquaman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84, the Justice League, and then the trash, all by its lonesome, Birds of Prey, the fabulous emancipation of Harley Quinn. That is your official DC tier listing for the DCEU based on us. And what do I take away from this is that there's Peacemaker and then there's everything else.
Yeah. Well,
That's the truth.
So that answers the question at the beginning of the show of why they hired James Gunn to run everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, his
point.
first foray into DC still only got a B.
yeah.
And an S.
So
Again, time will tell whether or not him as a good director equals him as a good overseer.
CEO.
Yeah, CEO.
But there you go. Did y'all have fun? Did y'all enjoy that?
It was a good time.
What?
New faces on. New faces.
Enjoy torturing yourself.
If anybody who hasn't seen the extended version of Batman Superman, I encourage you to check it out.
I encourage you not to watch it.
I'll give that a try.
I disliked it when I saw it in theaters. That extended cut, I don't know what it is. Stick says, how does an hour make that big of a difference? But it does for some reason. And I could put that movie in anytime and watch it.
Yeah.
The idea of adding an hour to that movie. Oof.
Take the hour back, put in the Matrix, and watch
daunting.
that.
It's daunting, but I encourage it. Give it a try.
Watch the
it's
Matrix.
Like telling JP to put an hour on Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Hell no.
I think you can actually make that a better movie if there was an hour on it, because then you can get a little bit more of Gore the God Butcher and actually him doing more something.
Gore.
Yeah. Maybe get rid of the goats. Maybe put more Hercules into it.
There you go.
Get rid of Zeus too.
Yeah, Fat Zeus. Nothing like Fat Zeus.
But I apologize. I didn't do this at the beginning of the show, Rowan, but you kind of jumped in the mid conversation. So, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners and kind of like what got you into this? We did the same thing to JP. Got you into this fandom, and what makes you want to collect and be into comic books and things like that?
Yeah, my name is Rohan. I'm out here in Seattle. Oh yeah, no, it's all right. Out in Seattle. So I mean, I grew up on specifically Marvel, like X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and Hulk, I would say, and Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer was my favorite, and then Batman and Superman. And so I collected as a kid. I probably stopped when I was 8 or 9, and then so I'm 39 now. And about a year ago, my brother showed me the VV app, and they had the comic NFTs. And I was like, oh, those are kind of cool. They're $7. Kind of reminds me of my childhood. And I kind of got into that, and I got a bunch of those. And then as I was getting into those, I was like, it'd be kind of cool to buy a comic again. And I bought a couple on eBay. And then just one day, I have 3 young kids, and we took them to the mall, and they're in one of those play places, and there was a comic book store right next door. And I went in, and it was all this modern stuff, so I didn't really care. But I was like, do you guys have any of the old stuff? She's like, no, we don't, but there's this comic shop, Ancient Comics. And so that day, me and my son, we went there, and I ended up hanging out there for 2.5 hours, just kind of looking at stuff. And I ended up buying some stuff, and it just kind of reignited the flame. And I've been kind of all over, and then, met JP just through Instagram, and he and I talk all the time now about oh, do you see the deal on this book? And then, do you see the price on that book? And, I got this book, and what do you think about this one? And so, yeah, and it's just really snowballed for me.
It's crazy how quickly it can come back to you, right? I mean, you get out of it for 20 some years, and all of a sudden or even longer, and you get back into it, and it becomes an obsession.
Yeah. And I've always, once the movie started coming up, especially with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans and the original X-Men movies, I was into all that. But yeah, the comic book thing was literally 6 months ago, essentially. And now it's just I'm all in. Now you see what you have 6 months later.
Yeah. What about Lord of the Rings with a name like Rohan, the Riders of Rohan? That's the first thing I
get that. I get that a lot. You get that a lot? Yeah, Todd.
That's badass.
Yeah. My parents have. So Rohan is a common name in India, and my parents have no idea about anything Lord of the Rings. It just I honestly, I never read those, but I've read them since, but I never read those growing up. And I saw the first Lord of the Rings movie, and I liked it. And I remember the Hobbit cartoon movie from when I was a kid vaguely. So I saw the movie, I liked the first movie, saw the second movie, and I was like, Rohan. And I turned to my friend, I was like, what the fuck? That's my name. Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, anybody watching anything now that they want to?
Oh, I tell you, if you haven't watched House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon was.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of you guys have read those books. I've read those books. I'm obsessed with those books. And it is excellent.
Right.
I watched the first couple episodes. I have to finish Cobra Kai, and then I'm gonna get into Game of Thrones, or House of Dragon. Excuse me.
House of Dragon's a much easier and more enjoyable watch than than Game of Thrones.
You didn't think the last season of Game of Thrones was great?
No, I did not.
The last season ruined it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd actually say season 7, actually, you can start to see it kind of go off the cliff, and then 8 is just a dumpster fire.
Was not the scene at the night scene of fighting the Night Walkers or whatever it was? That was a pretty good episode.
That episode on its own, yeah, was totally. I actually have no issue. Like that battle in general, I thought was pretty cool, but just like the direction the entire last season went was just awful.
I agree with that. But I thought that scene, that episode was good, and the episode where he killed the bastard guy was a good one too. So,
the Battle of the Bastards.
Oh, that's
a good episode too.
Yes.
That's in season 6.
I love that.
That's in season 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can remember what season it was.
Yeah, that was like peak. That was the peak.
Yep. I had not watched it. It came out in 2011, and during COVID, we started to watch it, and I was like, I hate fantasy, like swords and sorcerers and type stuff. I was never into that kind of stuff, and we put it on, and I was like, we couldn't stop watching it over and over. We watched it till like 4 a.m, almost every night. It was awesome. So,
yeah. I mean, I also am not huge into the fantasy, and like my buddy who was big into the books, he's like, you got to read the book, and I was like, nah, I'm not into that kind of thing. And he bought it and put it on my Kindle and was like, now you have to read it. I was like, fine. And I read it. Now I'm obsessed. Like I've read the books 3 times. I've listened to them twice. Like I'm absolutely obsessed with them.
Greatly written.
I'm so disappointed that the season ended where it did. Not in the way that it was bad, but because I want more, and I want more now.
Have you read the
book
book
for
this story, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was good. I think if they had went to the next scene, not to spoil it, I think that's a good jump off point for season 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see why they ended it where they did, because it's like, all right, now you know everything's about to hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, oh, I want more.
Totally. Yeah, waiting 2 years, like, oh, the idea of that sucks.
Ish, are you watching anything right now?
Yeah, actually, I watched episode 4 of House of Dragon on Wednesday, so I'm a little behind. Episode 4 was where the king's brother has sex with the king's daughter. So that was always fun. Incest, right? I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I'm one of those people.
Now you ruined it for me, Ish.
No, actually,
I'm watching House of Dragon, and I'm going to go into Game of Thrones, so I've heard there's a lot of incest in this show, so I'm prepared for that.
That didn't happen in episode 4.
That did not?
They were like, no, they like made out and they teased, and then she slept with the Kingsguard guy.
Oh, well, I know that. That's why I was like, oh, you did it with your brother and then with the Kingsguard? So they never formally copulated, so to speak, I guess. But still, it was still pretty skeevy.
Yeah. I think you kind of have to accept, like, and that's something that's common in history amongst like royal families is like, keep the bloodlines pure. And that's kind of like the reality he created in that. So like, if you could get past that, like, don't reduce the show down to that. Like it is, go beyond that. I'm not trying. It is absolutely disgusting. Yes. But I get what I'm saying.
Isn't there
yes, absolutely,
a king, like part of the English royal family, or there's some royal bloodline where it was so like diluted with incest that he had like a massive chin and jaw, and that was like a trait for the family because it was so inbred?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Is that Charles? King Charles?
Yeah,
King Charles. Anybody watching Andor?
Nope.
Yeah, I am. I haven't seen the latest, but I've watched it.
Good show.
Oh man, I'm loving Andor. So as someone who I hated Boba Fett, I hated the Obi-Wan show, I feel Andor is really delivering for me. It's so well written, it's so well directed. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely much better than those two that you mentioned. 100% agree.
Like I
Matt, how about
actively
you?
dislike those shows. So I had a lot of trepidation going into this. And it's just like, oh man, I'm so sucked in. And even when there's an episode that's not like a big action set piece, like they had the heist, I'm still completely sucked in, completely engrossed. I think the only show so far that Disney Plus has made where they're assuming this is not kids watching, so they don't treat the audience like idiots or kids. They don't spoon feed you the information. You still have to there's a lot of nuance, and the way the story's crafted, you have to kind of help it unfold while you watch it too. Right. So I like that a lot. They brought in some heavy hitters of Hollywood, the Gilroy brothers, to run this, and you can tell on the high level of quality of the show, and the writing and the pacing, the editing, even the music's really cool. And I like that it's not shoving Star Wars down your face every other scene. There's no Jedis or the Force or lightsabers. You barely see stormtroopers. At one point someone said a speeder, and I was like, a speeder? Oh yeah, we're watching Star Wars. That's the show is so interested in telling its story. It doesn't care about Easter eggs and stuff like that. There's a definite lack of fan service, but in a good way, because I think the strength is in the story they're telling, and it's long form too. I think it's 12 episodes, so we're really getting some good stuff.
There's some they have Easter eggs in there. It's all background stuff. If you're paying attention and looking, and
sure, but it's not like where some Marvel stuff.
But it's not in your face.
Almost it hinges on Easter eggs. If it doesn't have this Easter egg, then the whole thing, is crap.
Yeah.
Where this Andor doesn't need all that stuff. And I do like how it kind of ties in canonically. A lot of people are talking about how now there's a reference in the show Rebels where they reference the heist of a Garrison payroll. I'm like, well, here it is. This is that event. So that's pretty cool too. That there's still the connectivity with the rest of the Star Wars world, but the show does stand on its own. Yeah. Sometimes I feel it's kind of more like Blade Runner than Star Wars. And I like that.
Yeah. Matt, are you watching anything different than what we talked about?
Everything's kind of ended as far as like things I've been watching, so I'm on the hunt for something new.
Do you guys watch I know this is a little maybe not your cup of tea, but you guys watched Handmaid's Tale at all?
My fiance is big into Handmaid's. She's actually out in the living room watching it right now.
It's by far the darkest TV show currently going, but I think it's great.
So I'll push what I've been watching. On Prime, I've been watching The Devil's Hour. It's for Halloween. Good show for Halloween. It's got Peter Capaldi in it. It's kind of a psychic murder mystery. So it's really good. There's a girl that's got she doesn't know it, but she's got this second sight of seeing people get murdered. And her son has it too. So
like Minority Report.
Yeah, kind of, but it's different. It's more of a police drama with that kind of
dark police procedural.
Yeah,
brutality.
No brutality.
It's like NCIS, but with supernatural stuff.
Yeah, if you like supernatural stuff and it's you like the murder mystery type stuff, I think you'd like it. It's really good. It's a thriller. It's got some good scares to it. And
what's it called?
The Devil's Hour. I'd recommend it if you wanted to watch it, especially this month being Halloween coming up on Monday.
This month coming up on Monday.
This month coming up on Monday.
At the end
October.
When the month ends.
At the end of the month.
At the end of the month. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
Well, hey guys, I got to jump off because I got to get up early tomorrow. But I appreciate Roland getting on, Matt, Sticks, all you guys tonight. Sorry I got to cut off early, but I appreciate
we
all
were just about to end it. You're all good.
Okay.
Peace out.
Just
all right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks again. See you next week.
JP, have a good
Thank
weekend.
Good night, JP.
Later, man.
I think last week we kept JP up to like 4 a.m. in his.
Yeah, because you guys wouldn't stop talking about cars and insurance and
taxes. We became Absolute Legal Zoom podcast.
I was like, he was like, oh, it's gonna be a long show. I can't stay past this time. I was like, I'm hoping it's gonna be a quick show. Lance isn't here. We won't get derailed. There won't be no discussions about car insurance, and then him just sitting back playing his guitar. We'll get to the point. But he had a really good conversation about
that. Was the best when Lance just picked up his guitar and just kind of signed off for 20 seconds. Who knows what he was playing?
Yep. After he started this whole conversation, he's like, "I'm gonna."
That was great.
Yeah, I actually was on. JP had me watch the last 2 weeks when he got on, and last week I was at a thing and I got out and I turned it on, and it was literally just it was an hour of the taxes of when you sell a car and buy a car.
You never know what you're gonna get, man. That's the way it kind of goes. Yeah. But all right, well, I want to thank Sticks for
this week.
Oh Jesus! You always do this ish at the end of the show.
I got it in.
Derail everything, huh? I really didn't pick up much this week because there wasn't much that caught my fancy.
Well, for anyone who's going to tune in to Saturday Night Special tomorrow, I believe we're talking about a certain comic book that is a really crazy comic book.
Kyle said read it, and I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, I read it, and I was like, damn, that's like Red Room. If anyone's read Ed Piskor's Red Room, this is like up there with that.
I picked up Ninja Turtles Armageddon game number 2. Power Rangers 101 because it's got a new character in it. A new / old character. Amazing Spider-Man 12, and then Venom 12, and that's it.
That's it.
That's all I picked up this week.
Was this week the week that the Turtles Saturday morning came out?
No. I think that's next week.
Okay.
Not to toot the Star Trek horn, but literally the one book that we got phone calls on this week. That's always the big thing when people start calling like, hey, do you have this book? Do you have this book? Was for that Star Trek #1. And just because I felt kind of good about it, we actually ordered a little more than we normally order on Star Trek. And we already sold out. So for me, that was like, that's a big win. I was like, damn, yeah, people were excited about the Star Trek book. People actually called about it. I'm like, I'm on my way to the store. Hold a copy for me.
How many times did you call your own shop?
Yes.
Right.
I walked outside, picked up the phone.
Here, let me use your phone real quick. You get different voices.
Bill's like, we're not ordering more unless somebody else actually asks for it. So Ish goes in the back and starts calling.
There you go.
I've got to order more.
I fluffed the numbers.
Next week, there's a really nice looking Jen Bartel She-Hulk cover. Interested in that. I was looking for Saturday Night Cartoon Turtles. Yeah, that's next week.
Okay.
All right. Well, Quick Stops comes out next week too, and Samurai Dog issue 3. But
Quick Stops is getting local comic shop day special variant.
Is it?
One per store. Yeah.
When is local comic shop day?
How much are you selling
I
that
guess next week.
That one per store for Ish?
For you, cover price.
Ooh. Is it the one where they're like standing in the like spotlight?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me.
Oh, it's the LC SD 2020 variant. It's the Hollywood Chronicon variant. It looks like.
We have a Clerks #1 and a Jay and Silent Bob #1 in the store. Just kind of
what printing of the Clerks #1?
Just filing stuff, and I was like, oh, for the Clerks.
What does it look like? Is it like the cartoon where they are, or?
I want to say it's a black and white cover.
Okay. Is it the Oni? Is it Oni Press or no? Or Oni Press?
I think it's Oni Press.
I think it's Oni Press. I mean, I have one back here, but mine's like a third printing. It should be the same cover, but
If I remember on Monday, I'll snap a photo and send it to you. Or if you remind me.
I might be, if you're gonna do cover price, I'll take that one per store off your hands too.
Zaggy says Strange Academy. I don't know if it started back up. I think that's just a one shot that came out this week, but I could be wrong. What would I know? I only sell these comic books.
Right? You only peddle these wares.
But often enough, people ask me these questions, and I'm like, you know what? I have no idea.
You should know this stuff, Ish. Jeez.
Dude, there's so much to know. It's just like, I'd rather not know nothing than try to know everything. That's my philosophy on a Friday night.
There you go.
Nothing.
But it looks like local comic shop day is November 24th.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it's the day before Thanksgiving. Nice.
Was that Black Friday? Oh, day before Thanksgiving.
Day before.
Yeah.
In Old
Ron,
Man
are you more of a like old, like collecting gold and silver age, or do you do any modern stuff?
I don't have any golden. I would love to own some golden like Batman and Superman, but I don't have it. I don't have any of that. Yeah, so I'm strictly almost the stuff that I kind of grew up on, and so it's all older stuff: bronze, silver,
silver,
some copper. Yeah, like moving forward, like my main goal is now kind of like silver age, kind of blue chip stuff. So less quantity, more bigger kind of stuff.
So you're going after them big boy books.
Yeah. So it'll be like, for me, it'll probably be like a book every couple months, so I can save up kind of for each one.
Right. Do you have an LCS you go to? Do you pull modern comics or?
So I have a couple, one specifically that I've gone to the most. However, I found. Oh, it's called Ancient Comics. It's called Ancient Comics. It's in Burien, which is a little south of Seattle. And oftentimes now I just kind of go in and shoot the shit with the guy, just because it's fun to talk this kind of stuff. But personally, like, I think honestly the best success I've had is just buying on Instagram. Is where I found the best deals, and it's easiest to make like relationships and work deals and whatnot. And then actually so I've been on a buying freeze through the holidays. I got kids, got to do all that stuff for. And so I got onto these Facebook buy, sell, trade groups, and I've made 2 pretty big trades in the last 2 weeks that got me the first Thanos and the first Black Panther. So that
nice.
And then didn't have to spend $1. I mean, just used books I had that I didn't consider forever PC books.
Nice.
Yeah.
Letting the hobby fund itself. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Ish, it looks like Strange Academy Finals it's either an ongoing or a 4-issue miniseries, because there's at least I can see the first 4 issues.
So Matt, you're into collecting the new stuff that comes out?
Yeah, I'm an all-around collector. Like, I collect gold and silver and copper age and modern. I kind of collect a little bit of everything.
Yeah, by one kind of like, so when you collect, do you collect like with the modern stuff? Is it for value, or is it for you just like to read them?
Just personal. Yeah, I like to read it.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's kind of frustrating with me with the new stuff is everything's got 56 different cover options.
Yeah.
And then B, it just seems like nowadays there's this game of like, so many people just get books and then just send them immediately to CDC. So there's a crap ton of 9/8, and so it's like if you don't have a 9/8 in that book, it's worth nothing.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm more modern for me, just what stuff I like, but I don't really sell or resell a lot either. So it's kind of like I look at some of these keys and I'm like, ooh, I'd love to have that one day, but I don't do anything to try and pursue it. So it's just like, I'll just keep collecting my stuff. And I don't.
A lot of them now are out of our price range now, right? I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, like 20 years ago, you probably could have gotten some of those at a decent price.
I collect more what I like. I'm not a modern reacher, so if like this new like when Scar showed up on She-Hulk, I wasn't out there going, oh my god, I got to get that What If Planet Hulk number one right now. And because I know the spec game. I know so many people in it, and I know that if you're just buying it when the character hits TV, you're already too late. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
JP and I actually always, every time it comes up, we always kind of have a laugh about and I will say of the modern comics, I like Miles Morales, like, so I have a couple of his things, but me and JP oftentimes always have a laugh whenever it comes up for sale, that ultimate follow-up for the Jerkin variant or whatever, like there was today, it was posted for $36,000. And I'm just like, I could not imagine, like, if I had that book, I would sell it for $36,000, and then I would buy like a Hulk 1 and an FF5 and something like that. Like,
yeah, insane.
But speaking of FF5, we just got Bill just sent one in and got it back at 2.0.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that would be a dream for me.
This guy came, we couldn't make the deal. He had a 7.0 FF5.
What did he want for
it? I don't know. It was just him and Bill in the back room negotiating for like an hour, and then he walked out with the book in his hand. I was like, oh man, they couldn't make a deal on it.
Yeah, that would be a dream for me.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of those books are just like
moment of silence.
Yeah, right. Well, it like blows my mind that like people were like, "Oh, well, I got this Amazing Fantasy 15 and I didn't pay for it. You know, I traded up for it." And I'm like, I get too sentimental. I could probably count on them if I had $1 for every time. I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I'm selling my collection. I'd be a rich man right now. And I just can't ever bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to sell anything. So I'm like,
because you're a collector.
Yeah.
You're not a flipper or a seller. You're an actual collector. Collector is someone who buys comic books with the intent to keep them.
Yeah, it's hard. It is.
You know, people who buy a comic and are right away care about the value of it. I'm like, you're not really a collector at this point. That's your collection is your collection, regardless of what it's worth.
So it's hard. But
the hard life we live as comic book collectors, huh? It's tough. It's tough. Singing the blues. You know, I always tell people if they ask for advice, I was like, always invest in a book that even if it crashes rock bottom, you're still happy to have it in your collection. That way you can never go wrong. And if it's worth $1 million one day, then yay, you won the lottery. If it's not, you still have a book that you look at and you're like, that's cool. It makes me smile because it's a good comic.
Yeah, and JP and I talk about that both a lot, is that I don't collect for investment purposes. It's more I collect for the enjoyment of collecting, right? Like I have, hobby. You know, we have our own investment things going on outside of comic books. Like that's not what I'm counting on to retire off of. Like I collect because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And with modern books, you know, I'm such a big proponent of like, if you're buying modern books, be reading them. There's so many people I see every day. Some of the books they get, some of the pulls they get, I know they're not reading these books, and I kind of know the person, and I'm like, you're spending money on all these comics, and I know if you actually picked it up and read it, you'd probably hate it. You'd probably go, this comic sucks. Yet you're still, you know, I'll take their money, but it's just kind of weird that like on modern books, I always tell people like, read it, enjoy the story. Like at the very least baseline, go, I like reading this comic, and then care about, you know, speculating on it or whatever you're going to do.
I did that a couple of years ago when like Kate was doing Thor and Venom. You know, I was like buying them because I thought they were, I don't know what I thought, and now I don't even want them. Like, I don't want these.
Well, chances are if you read them, you might actually think they're pretty good. Like the Kate's Thor run has been, you know,
I've read them, but I don't want
care for it.
No, it was a decent read right up until the Hulk stuff, and then like they kick you off with that whole Thanos thing at the end of the first issue, and they haven't come back to that yet. Like, let's go wrap it up, you know?
Yeah.
But the Venom stuff is everyone was specking on null, and now null's happened, and the character that was supposed to be null just kind of got tossed by the wayside in Thor: Love and Thunder. So,
wait, who is supposed to be Null in Thor: Love and Thunder?
So the god that has the necro sword that Gore gets, that's Null. That came to be Null.
So Gore should have gotten his powers from Null, but Null was absent.
Was that the guy in the very beginning?
But he should have been.
Yeah, so it was like the guy on the ground when he meets the other gods and he picks up the sword from his dead body.
But that wasn't supposed to be Null in any shape or form. That was like an entirely different character. He just totally replaced Null.
Well, it became Null when Kate
took over. That character became Null when Kate took it over. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Originally, it wasn't. It was just a god.
Yeah, well, you didn't know.
Kate came in and made, we'll make him the symbiote god.
No, I'm talking about the guy in the movie, though, that he stabs.
No. Yeah, I'm not talking about
I don't think we were supposed to think that was Null.
No.
Yeah,
You're not.
That's what we were talking about.
The dude that's dead on the ground with that he picks up the necro sword from.
Yeah, the necro sword chose him, but yeah.
Oh, I see.
Because of his hatred of
Yeah.
But you can still get Null. I mean, you could say that Null is inside of the sword, I guess. And I don't know.
Well, he's Sony property, so I don't think.
I think Null will still have his day. I don't think he's just kind of been cast aside, and that was a horrible thing to spec on. People were really pumped about Null. Like that was a big storyline. I think he'll still have some impact.
I think it was too soon for Null to be pushed into the movies, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, so the storyline's only 6 months old. They're not going to put it into the theaters already. They're not themselves going to get FOMO just to get your money.
Yeah.
The Venom issue this week had the C cover was a Null cover. I don't know if you saw that, Matt.
Fucking Zaggy. I just picked up the Marvel Legends toy with Null and Venom. It's pretty neato. What'd you say, Ish? Venom had a Null cover?
Had a Null cover.
Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah, you said it had a Null cover.
I did.
See? The C cover.
Oh, I asked if you had seen it.
Oh, no. I'm looking at it right now. Where he's standing there with the sword. I don't think that's Null, though.
It's not the greatest, but you don't think that's Null?
I haven't seen the cover, so.
Unless it's Dylan Brock. No, here, I can share it.
Oh. See, that was one. I thought that was one variant that might have a little more traction this week, and it really didn't. It's because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not Null, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I just assumed that it was.
I think it possibly is Null, but I think you're right. I think it's Dylan as Null.
No, was it? There was another character. Yeah, it's old Dylan Brock because isn't.
Yeah, it's
been a long time since I've read this, but when they're doing the King in Black stuff, did they run into like old Dylan Brock and he's like evil and he's got like long gray hair and now I have to go back and read Venom. Thanks, Ish.
Good job, Ish.
Sorry to make you have to read comic books. Damn it.
Yeah, I know. You're just trying to get my money any way you can, huh? Just trying to get that dollar. But all right, well, I guess that's where we'll end this attempt for the third time before Ish asks me what else I've got going on this week.
Well, I was going to ask about Crown Jewel. If you're getting excited, if you're getting pumped.
No, I'm not.
No,
you're not.
I'm so far behind on WWE programming. Like, it's not fun. I tried to watch Raw on Monday and I felt like it was unwatchable.
Yeah, they started out with the women's tag team. I think it was. I don't know. Crown Jewel. I mean, they're doing the same thing they did the last time, right? So they're bringing in Brock is coming back, and I don't know. I think it's going to be crappy.
Yeah, I got a better question.
I think the Logan Paul Roman Reigns fight is going to be. They're going to pull something. Logan Paul doesn't just show up and, wow. There's going to be some sort of stunt.
Are you going to the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight in Phoenix tomorrow ish? You got your front row tickets, right?
Not.
Ringside.
No.
Yeah. He's got his
Are you
Fantastic World pass.
No.
Yeah. I got my Fantastic Worlds VIP pass.
Where is that taking place in Phoenix?
Is it at? It's at the.
Is it halftime at the Cardinals game?
No. It's at the. I want to say it's at the Desert Diamond Arena, which I've never heard of.
Some slum bar.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, tonight, and I didn't watch it. This is my dedication to this show. I'll be watching it later. Was the Coyotes home opener tonight in their new arena?
Oh, so that's what Gila River's called now.
Gila
River Arena is now Desert Diamond Arena.
It's now Desert Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still having?
So they opened that mullet arena. They handed out free mullet wigs to all fans in attendance.
But
there you go. Are you still having an issue watching the Coyotes?
Well,
nobody wants to watch the Coyotes.
Were you having an issue watching the Coyotes game?
He's having an issue with his internet connection.
Yeah.
But all right. We'll end it here. Roja's like, what are you guys talking about? I don't even know what I'm doing right now. But I thank you for jumping in and coming on tonight. And you're welcome back anytime you want to come on, man. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I loved it. Yeah, it was fun.
Sticks, thank you as always. I'm glad I could pull you in for talking a little Who.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And Ish, you just enjoy that frozen internet. And I thank everyone in the chat for hanging out tonight. Hope you guys had a good time. And so we won't have a show next week because Lance won't be here and I won't be here. And then the weekend after that, I'm getting married. So we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Get your priorities straight.
Yeah, I know.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't watch Batman versus Superman the night before.
I'm not playing it. We're going to Vegas for my bachelor party, so I don't.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. Congratulations to Erin.
Yes, she's the real winner in all of this.
She's the winner in this whole thing.
But, all right. Well, until next time, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Later.
Have a good night, guys.
See ya.
All you freaks and geeks,
come all you freaks and geeks, let's listen to Absolute Geek.
Absolute Geek.
We'll go ahead and spread our cheeks,
Spread the cheese.
and drink
And
some
over for
Cosby wine.
we'll
Come
drink
on,
some
you
Cosby wine. It makes me feel real fine. See you next time.